Good morning. Am I audible and visible? Am I audible and visible? Good morning, all of you. Okay, great. So, last class I was handling Indian literature. I could not complete the topic of Indian literature. So, we finished with Indian dance, isn't it? We finished Indian dance, and then, of course, we came to Indian literature. And I could only finish the first half of it, ancient Indian literature. Yeah, good morning, all of you. So, today I hope to cover a few topics. To quickly recap, when you talk about Indian literature, most of the literature in ancient India is in the Sanskrit language. So huge amount of books were written in Sanskrit language on various subjects. So we have looked at it, Vedic literature, then entire corpus of Vedic literature is in Sanskrit language. The six Shad Darshanas, the six philosophies, then of course Natakas, dramas, then Kavyas, poems, didactic literature, that is, the author is trying to influence the thinking of the reader. So, didactic literature, grammar, Vyakarna, right? Prose romances, scientific literature, for example, of Aryabhatta, Varhamira, Brahmagupta, etc. So, entire corpus of Puranas. So, you have a huge amount of literature in Sanskrit language. It was the language of the Shishtas, the elite sections of society. Then, apart from Sanskrit, we have literature in Pali and Prakrit. So, with the coming of Buddha and Mahavira, we have Buddha using Pali language to propagate his teachings. And then, of course, Mahavira used Ardhamagadi. So, these two, Pali and Ardhamagadi, are dialects of Prakrit. So, Buddhist literature is in two languages, that is Pali and then, of course, Sanskrit. From the fourth council, that is from the first century AD onwards, the Buddhists began to use Sanskrit to propagate the teachings of the Buddha, and many books came to be written in Sanskrit language. So we have looked at that part last class. So Buddhist literature is in Pali and Sanskrit. Prakrit literature, most of the literature of the Jains is in Prakrit language. Of course, some books were written in Sanskrit also. And then, of course, we can talk about the Dravidian literature, the four Dravidian languages: Tamil, Kannada, Telugu, and Malayalam. Tamil, Tamil is the oldest of the Dravidian languages, followed by um, Kannada, Telugu, and Malayalam. So I stopped here last class. I ran out of time. So we'll come back here. We'll finish the other part of the literature topic. So today I would like to I'll finish literature. We'll go to then philosophy, Indian philosophy. Then of course, Bhakti and Sufi movement, and science and technology in ancient India. And then if time permits, I'll start with the Indian painting, right? So we'll come back here. Yeah, better. Good morning, Akshata. Better. So we'll come back here. Persian literature. Now, in medieval times, we have Persian literature which flourished, not Arabic. So with the coming of the Delhi Sultans, so Persian literature in medieval times, it was Persian literature which flourished. So some of you have mailed me stating that you found the literature topic very difficult. The point is, it is factual in nature. Please understand, it is factual in nature. And I have given you a lot of information in my PPTs, like book and author, book and author, like that. So there could be match the following, or they would have already given you a question where already things have been matched. The subject and the book and the author has been matched, and they might ask you the wrong match. Or there could be mains questions in the sweeping question in the mains. For example, the development of Sanskrit literature in ancient India. So such questions can come. So what you need to do is revise. Everything is not important, but then when you keep revising, it's somewhere it will flash to your mind, because when you see the question paper and the choices given, you'll be able to eliminate. You don't need to mug up, everything. You just have to keep on revising, keep on reading repeatedly, and then you'll understand. And when you read the textbook, in the context, you'll understand that some authors are mentioned along with their books. For example, if you're doing medieval India, you're doing Vijayanagara Empire, right? You will come across the Ashtadigajas, the 8 luminaries in the court of Krishnadevaraya. So, what are the books written by them? So that becomes relevant. Similarly, let us say talking about Delhi Sultanate. During the Delhi Sultanate, you come across many scholars: Isami, Futuh Salatin, who wrote his autobiography. Then Amir Khusro, who wrote a number of books. So in that context, you will come to know a lot of books and that list of information. A lot of information is there, and of course, you'll get more in the textbooks if you read Nitin Singhania, etc. So use my material as a supplement to what is there in Nitin Singhania's book. So did you understand? So everything is not important, but then some becomes relevant. Some becomes relevant. Some of the information becomes relevant from the exam point of view. So here, when we talk about medieval India, when we talk about medieval Indian literature, I hope you understood what I was just trying to tell you. So everything is not important. Don't get intimidated by the sea of information. A lot of information is there in the PPTs, factual in nature. So don't get intimidated by that. Yeah, thank you, Anjali. I'm okay. Right. So we'll come to Persian literature. Are you there with me? So don't get intimidated by that. So make cue cards and then keep revising them. And when you read a textbook, you will come across, in the context, you'll come across a number of scholars and the books or the poems they wrote, or which scholar was patronized by which king, what is the book written by that scholar. So all the such information will come. Right. Now we talk about Persian literature. So what is the reason as to why Persian literature flourished both during the Delhi Sultanate period, Delhi Sultanate times, then Mughal period, even the Mughals patronized Persian language. So Mughals, then also the Bahmani kingdoms, the many Deccani sultanates. So all these rulers, Delhi Sultanate, Mughals, the Deccani sultanates, they all patronized Persian language and literature. It was not Arabic. So what is the reason for that? The reason is as follows, as you can see. Number one, you can see Central Asia was very volatile. A lot of wars, intertribal wars, Mongol attacks used to take place. In Central Asia, Mongols were from Mongolia, northern China, and they began to attack. They were plunderers, looters, and plunderers. So as a result, many of the scholars, intellectuals who could not pursue their intellectual activities, they began to come to India, and they came along with their books and set up libraries here. That was the main thing. So many scholars from these areas, you can see on your screen, Transoxiana, basically from the region of Central Asia, Bukhara, Khorasan, they all began to come to India along with their books, and they established libraries here in this country. That's number one. Number two is the comparative stability of the Delhi Sultanate. Delhi Sultanate was comparatively stable when compared to the political situation in West Asia, Central Asia, where there were now a number of intertribal warfare, Mongol attacks, etc. And thirdly, we have the patronage given by the Delhi Sultans. For example, Iltutmish. Qutbuddin Aibak was one. Iltutmish was another. I told you Iltutmish was called Akshar Baksh. Akshar Baksh, because of the patronage he gave to many scholars, okay, including Hassan Nizami. So Qutbuddin Aibak, Iltutmish, Ruknuddin Firoz, all these sultans gave encouragement to these scholars. They gave them stipends. They gave them jobs in their court. They encouraged them to write books of official histories, etc. So all these reasons led to the popularity of Persian in medieval times. Similarly, the Mughals also encouraged these scholars. We'll come to Mughal period in some time. So these are the main reasons, right? So a huge body of literature was composed in Persian language in the medieval times. Amir Khusro was the greatest of these scholars during the Delhi Sultanate period. Amir Khusro, he was more of a poet than a historian. He is considered to be the first scholar of Hindavi language. And Amir Khusro saw the rule of 7 Delhi Sultans. Amir Khusro, you can see here, saw the rule of 7 Delhi Sultans. Um, um, So he's supposed to have written 500,000 verses. That is about 5 lakh verses, 5 lakh verses, and 99 works. So his famous books are these. You can see on your screen, Khazanul Futu. So it talks about the conquest of Alauddin Khalji's campaigns and Malik Kafur's campaigns in South India. The first Persian description of Jauhar is in this book. So South Indian campaigns of Alauddin Khalji mentioned in Khazanul Futu. Nusufir, reign of Mubarak, talks about the reign of Mubarak Khalji, the son of Alauddin Khalji. Remember Mubarak Khalji, son of Alauddin Khalji. And it praises India as paradise on earth, I believe. Then Ashika or Deval Rani Kizar Khani, the love of romance and marriage of Kizar Khan with Devala Devi, the daughter of Kamala Devi. So Deval Rani Kizar Khani. So Deval Rani Kizar Khani, romance of Deval Rani or Devala Devi. Devala Devi, the daughter of Kamala Devi. And Kizar Khan was the son of Alauddin Khalji, as you know. Right? Kiran Sadain, Miftal Futu. So these are the books written by Amir Khusro. He was given the title of Tut-e Hind. So Alauddin Khalji gave him the title of Parrot of India, Tut-e Hind. So he was the most prolific scholar of the Delhi Sultanate period, Amir Khusro. He also composed a number of ragas, devised a number of ragas like Ayman, singing ragas, Ayman, Sanam, Ghora, etc. Sitar is supposed to was invented by him, though it is disputed. So sitar, tabla, they were all supposedly invented by Amir Khusro. So he was a great writer, scholar. Then also during the Mughal period, we have a number of books in Persian language of histories, official histories, non-official histories, biographies, collection of biographies, autobiographies, right? Encyclopedias, dictionaries, translations. So huge amount of books on various subjects were written during the Mughal period also. And the Deccan also produced Persian books, number of books in Persian language. So here again, I reiterate this: everything is not important. When you read the textbook, you'll come across in the context. You'll come across some scholars. Okay, for example, Hassan Nizami wrote Tajul Masir, right? Hassan Nizami. For example, that is the first official history of the Delhi Sultanate, and Hassan Nizami was patronized by Qutbuddin Aibak. Then you know. Minhaj Siraj writes Tabakati Nasiri. So he was in the court of Nasruddin Mahmud, the father-in-law of Balban, the son-in-law of Balban. So so he was a contemporary of Balban and Nasruddin Mahmud. Balban gave his daughter in marriage to Nasruddin Mahmud. So Nasruddin Mahmud patronized this Minhaj Siraj who wrote Tabakati Nasiri. So such things become important. Did you understand? Hello, all of you. Yeah, Persian is Persia is the old name for Iran, and Arabic, of course, the Holy Quran is written in Arabic language. So here, so don't get scared by this information here, which I've given you. Again, these are Persian names, so that it might intimidate you. If you were intimidated by the ancient India books and the name of scholars and the books, you might get doubly intimidated by these books, which are in Persian language and literature. So therefore, I'll again have to reiterate: be very careful in the context. You remember, when you're reading the history textbook, you'll get some scholars, books, etc. Only those you remember. Try to remember them. So, for example, Diwan, author is Masood Sad Salman, Chargenama by Abu Bakr Kufi, or Ali, in short. Here, so it talks about the history of the Sindh, Arab conquest of Sindh, and the administrative innovations introduced by the Arabs in Sindh, right? The Chargenama by Ali. Tabakati Nasiri by Minhaj Siraj. So, Minhaj Siraj was patronized by Nasruddin Mahmud. So, it talks about the history of the slave dynasty, right? Like that. Those things, please remember. Hello, are you there with me? All of you. So remember those things. Everything is not important. But I have given it here. I have given you a lot of information, but then try to identify the most important ones among them. For example, Tutinama by Zia Naqshbandi, Tariq-e Firuzshahi, Shamsuddin Siraj Afif. So Shamsuddin Siraj was the official historian of Firuz Shah Tughlaq. Official historian of Firuz Shah Tughlaq, Firuz Tughlaq. And Shamshi Shiraj Afif writes Tariq-e Firuzshahi. So he writes Tariq-e Firuzshahi. Ziauddin Barani also wrote the same book, but then two separate authors writing two separate books with the same title. So Tariq-e Firuzshahi, I'll write here, you can see here, um, Tariq-e Firuzshahi by Shamsuddin Shiraj Afif, and also he, okay, so Tariq-e Firuzshahi, but written by Shamsuddin Siraj Afif, official historian of Firuz Shah Tughlaq. Um, then yeah, just hold on. Then of course we have the Futuhat-i Firuzshahi. Futuhat-i Firuzshahi is written by Firuz Shah Tughlaq. This is the autobiography of Firuz Shah Tughlaq. Autobiography of Firuz Shah Tughlaq. The Futuhat-i Firuzshahi, right? Then similarly we have the Tariq-i Mubarak Shahi of Yahya bin Ahmad Sarhindi. So here Tariq-i Firuzshahi written by Shamsi Siraj Afif, and one more book, Tariq-i Firuzshahi, written by Ziauddin Barani. So two separate people wrote two separate books under the same title. So Tariq-i Firuzshahi by Shamsuddin Siraj Afif, and Tariq-i Firuzshahi by Ziauddin Barani. So you can see here Tariq-i Firuzshahi by Shamsuddin Siraj Afif, and then Tariq-i Firuzshahi by Ziauddin Barani. Okay, two separate books written by two separate people, but with the same title. Then we have Sufi books. So, for example, we have the sayings of Khwaja Muhyiddin Chishti, the saint from Ajmer, the Chishti saint from Ajmer, very famous saint. So, the collection of his sayings are contained in a book called Dalail ul Arafin, written by Baba Farid. Then we have the sayings of Bakhtiyar Kaki, that is Khwaja Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki, on whose honor the Qutub Minar has been built by Iltutmish, right? So the sayings of Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki are again written by Baba Farid. It is contained in the book Fawaidus Salikin. Such things you remember, please. Similarly, sayings of Nizamuddin Auliya, who saw the rule of 7 Delhi Sultans, Nizamuddin Auliya. So the sayings of Nizamuddin Auliya are contained in this book called Afzalus Shawahid, written by Amir Khusru. Okay. Then Fatwa-e Firuzshahi, compiled with the reign of Firuz Shah Tughlaq. Then we have some books written in the Deccan during the Bahmani period. Isami writes Futu Salatin. So Isami is the person who spoke about Balban poisoning his father-in-law, Sultan Nasruddin Mahmud. Isami also accuses Muhammad bin Tughlaq, that is Jauna Khan, of patricide, that is he killing his father and snatching away the throne. So this is this person, Isami, who wrote Futu Salatin, right? Then he dedicated his works to Sultan Alauddin Bahman Shah, the founder of the Bahmani kingdom. Then similarly, we have Firishta, Abul Hasan Firishta, who wrote Gulshani Ibrahimi, compiled in the reign of Ibrahim Adil Shah II of Bijapur. So then also we have Mughal contribution towards Persian literature. Again, I reiterate, a number of scholars continued to flow into India during the Mughal period also. Abul Fazl, who was a minister under Akbar, mentions about 75 such scholars. So they came to Akbar's court and they sought employment under him. And he tells us that this influx continued even during the period of Jahangir and Shah Jahan. So Mughal period also a lot of scholars came from these areas. From Persia, they came from Persia, Bukhara, Samarkand, Herat, Mashhad, Ifshahan, Gilan, Nishapur. So the the no no the when the Mughal Empire was flourishing, we have the Safavid dynasty which received a setback. The Safavids of Persia. So Safavids of Persia, the Safavid dynasty which ruled Persia or Iran. So there was a setback. So because of that reason, you have scholars losing their patronage. You have also Mongol attacks which were taking place from the medieval times. So because of all these things, we have scholars coming to India, and they were also were patronized by the Mughals, apart from the Delhi Sultans. And the type of literature, the quality of literature, Persian literature, which was produced in India, was many times superior to that which was produced in Persia. The quality of Persian books, literature on various subjects which were produced in India was much superior to that which was produced in Persia during those days. So even the nobles and the grandees, many of the nobles, zamindars, nobles under the Mughals also patronized these scholars. So a number of books on various subjects were written during the Mughal period. Again it's factual in nature. As you can see, all forms of poetry came to be written, like ghazals. What are ghazals? Odes, ghazals, qasidas, quatrains. That is, 4-line words, quatrains, katas, fragments. So they were all different types of poetry. Then a Mughal period is called Age of Ghazals. The poet laureate of Akbar was Mullah Ghazali Mashadi. Poet laureate means the court poet, the chief court poet, poet laureate, chief court poet, chief court poet under Akbar's reign, Mullah Ghazali Mashadi. Similarly, the poet laureate of Jahangir was this man, Talib Amuli, right? And similarly, we have Shah Jahan. He um, he honored Qudsi by weighing him in silver because he presented a beautiful kasida. Kasida is in a quatrain. So he presented a beautiful kasida to Shah Jahan, and an impressed Shah Jahan got him weighed in silver, and that amount of money was given away to Qudsi. So like this, scholars were patronized, encouraged by the Mughals also. So all these details are here. Go through it. Dara Shikoh, he also, the son of Shah Jahan, he also was a poet. He wrote under the nom de plume, Kadri. Nom de plume means pen name. So pen name Kadiri. And he wrote about 133 ghazals at 28 rubaiyats. Darashiko translated 52 Upanishads into Sanskrit language. 52 Upanishads were translated into Persian language by Darashiko. I wrote a number of books, Majma'ul Bahrain, etc. Right? Then, of course, we have the Mughal princesses, Jahanara Begum, Zebun Nisa. They are also supposed to have encouraged literature, and they also were gifted poetesses. So you can see here official histories. What is official history? History authorized to be written by the government. That's called official history. History authorized to be written by the government. So the government is authorizing the writing of history. That's called official history. So conversely, what is unofficial history? When private people like you and me privately write the history of the period. Nobody has authorized us. So out of our own interest, we will write. That's called unofficial history. Official history is government authorizing the writing of history. Right? Again, Arabic is a language, Arabic language. The Holy Quran is an Arabic language. Like Hindi is a language, Arabic is a language. So we have a number of scholars. You can see here Akbar Nama, written by Abul Fazl. Abul Fazl was one of the ministers of Akbar's court. In Akbar's court, Abul Fazl. So he writes the Akbar Nama, which talks about the reign of Akbar up to his 46th regnal year. Aini Akbari, again written by Abul Fazl. Then, right? So similarly, I have given you other information. Iqbal Nama-i Jahangiri by Muhammad Khan. Then unofficial history, Tabakati Nasiri by Minhajus Siraj, Kazainul Futu by Amir Khusro, Futu Salatin by Isami, right? Humayun Nama, right, written by Gulbadan Begum, the sister of Humayun and the daughter of Babar. Humayun Nama, it talks about, it is the biography of Humayun, as you know. Okay. Then Tariq-e Sher Shahi by Akbar Khan Sherwani, history of Sher Shah, talks about the history of Sher Shah. Then Tabakati Akbari by Nizamuddin, Muntakab Tawariq by Badauni. So Badauni was the first, was a critic of Akbar. So it is the first critical history of Akbar's reign, mentions religious views of Akbar, criticized the eulogistic Akbarnama. So Badauni was a great critic of Akbar and many of his policies, right? Then Muntakabul Lubab by Kafi Khan, etc. So these are all details I've given you. Go through it. Then autobiographies, a number of autobiographies were written. For example, Babur writes the Tuzuki Baburi. Babur writes the Tuzuki Baburi or Babar Nama, which was later translated into Persian by Abdur Rahim Khani Khanan. Abdur Rahim Khani Khanan was a son of Bairam Khan. Son of Bairam Khan. Bairam Khan, the regent of Akbar. As you know, he took care of Akbar. Bairam Khan, he fought the second Panipat war against Hemu Bairam Khan on behalf of Akbar. So Abdur Rahim Khani Khan was a son of Bairam Khan, and he was the one who translated the Tuzuki Baburi into Persian during Akbar's reign. Then we have the autobiography of Jahangir, Tuzuki Jahangiri, right? Tuzuki Jahangiri, written by Jahangir himself. Then we have other books like biographies or collection of biographies, then grammatical works, encyclopedias, dictionaries, translations. For example, Zia Naqshbandi translated a Tuti Nama or Book of the Parrot. Okay. Then we have then Hitopadesha was translated. So we have the equivalent name called Mufarri ul Kulab. Mufarri ul Kulab. So a lot of effort towards translating Sanskrit books into Persian language, right? That shows the um, broad-mindedness of the rulers of that period. So they also wanted to understand, know what was there in the Sanskrit books, so that they were translated into Persian language. So syncretic culture, a tolerant culture, where Hindus and Muslims reconciled and lived together. A tolerant culture came into existence during the Mughal period, particularly from the time of Akbar onwards. So Sanskrit into Persian books. Then so similarly, Mughal period translation, Sanskrit into Persian. The Mahabharata was translated under the title of Razam Nama. So Mahabharata came to be called Razam Nama. These are the various people who translated the Mahabharata into Persian. Mullah Sheri, Nakib, Sultan Haji, Badauni. The Ramayana came to be called Jahani Safar. That was also translated into Persian by Makhan Lal. The Atharva Veda, Ved Atharvan. Okay, then Raja Tarangini was also translated. So important translations, please remember them. Similarly, Arabic to Persian, books translated from Arabic to Persian language. Nala Damayanti, the love story of Nala and Damayanti became Laila Majnu, right? So Panchatantra became Khalil the Dimna, like that. Singan Bhattisi became Nama Ikirad Afza, and so on and so forth. So difficult to remember, I know the equivalent Persian names, but then I reiterate, make cue cards and then write down in short words, short fonts, and then you keep on revising them. Yeah, is it live? Please ask. Yeah, Kashish, it is live. Hello, all of you. Am I audible and visible? Please raise your hands. Am I audible and visible? Okay. Yeah, Neha, it is very much live. It's audible and visible. All of you, all the people, all the students. So did you get me? So here, everything is not important, but then most important ones. As you keep revising, you'll understand. It'll strike a chord with you. You'll understand what are the areas which you should focus upon. What are the information you should absorb and try to revise and try to remember. Yeah, Satyam. Yeah, there are a lot of facts. Some topics are factual in nature, Satyam. This is one factual topic. For example, literature topic. So, is there any other way to teach it or any other way to explain it? I don't know. I'm trying my best. But then I have given you a broad idea as to what could be asked, and you just have to focus on those. Yeah, I'm feeling better, Ashish. Thank you. Right. Did you get me, all of you? So, the factual information, go through it repeatedly, revise, and then you'll be able to understand. So again, Arabic and Turkish books translated into Persian. Babar Nama, for example, translated into Persian by Abdur Rahim Khani Khanan, like that. So those things you remember. So let us look at the questions from this topic on your screen with reference to Indian history. Look at this question asked, 2022 question. With reference to Indian history, consider the following pairs. Historical person and known as Arya Deva, Jain scholar, Dignaga, Buddhist scholar, Nathamuni, Vaishnava scholar. How many pairs given above are correctly matched? They're asking. So this was a new type of question asked. How many pairs are correctly matched? So Arya Deva, Jain scholar. So here this choice is wrong. Arya Deva and Asanga, they were Buddhist scholars, not Jain scholars. Arya Deva and Asanga. So Arya Deva, you can see here on your screen. So I've given you the answer. Arya Deva, a disciple of Nagarjuna, uh, and he was a central figure in the development of Madhyamika philosophy. So Aryadeva was a disciple of Nagarjuna, and who gave the philosophy of Madhyamika Vada, Shunya Vada, right? And Nagarjuna was a contemporary of uh, of Kanishka, right? So Nagarjuna. So this is not correct. The first choice, Dignaga, Buddhist scholar. So this is correct. He was a logician, Dignaga, Buddhist logician on logic. So this is correct. Nathamuni was a Vaishnava scholar. This is also correct. You can see on your screen, Dignaga was a Buddhist logician and author of Pramana Samuchchaya. So he wrote a book called Pramana Samuchchaya. Then Nathamuni founded a Sanskrit Tamil school at Srirangam in Tamil Nadu. So he was a Vaishnava scholar. So the 2 and 3 are correct. Therefore, only 2 pairs are correct in this answer. Only 2 pairs are correct. So this is the type of questions they could ask you. Or they can already ask you the author and the scholar and the author, the book, the name of the author and the book he wrote, the work he wrote, and then they might ask you to match, or already they might have matched and ask you to identify the wrong match or the right match. So that such things can come. Then this is from current affairs. The Nobel Prize for Literature 2023, Nobel Prize for Literature has been awarded to Norwegian author Von Olav Foss. Von Olav Foss. So, what is the reason for he being awarded this Nobel Prize for Literature? For his innovative plays and prose, which give voice to the unsayable level. So, for his innovative plays and prose, he wrote in a Norwegian language called, what is it called? Nynorsk. He wrote in this Norwegian language called Nynorsk. I don't know how to spell that. Nynorsk. He was given this literature prize, Nobel Prize for that reason. So this is about literature topic. We'll go to the next topic, that is philosophy, Indian philosophical schools, right? So I'll share the model answers with you today. I'll ask the concerned people to share it with you. Go through the model answers, all the answers for all the questions. I'll ask them to share it with you today. Right? Any doubts here? Hello? Zeba, modern literature, when it comes to modern literature, please refer to Nitin Singhania. Nitin Singhania, please refer to Nitin Singhania. And I want you to read, specifically Bengali literature, development of Bengali literature and Hindi literature. So refer to Nitin Singhania for these two information. Bengali literature, Hindi literature, development of Bengali literature, Hindi literature. Refer to Nitin Singhania. Zeba, did you get me that? So Bengali literature, Hindi literature, and of course keep track of current affairs. So Indian author, for example, gets a particular prize in literature. So those things become relevant. So Bengali literature, Hindi literature, refer Nitin Singhania and make your notes. Right. Then we come back here to Indian philosophical schools. Persian is a common man language. You can say that, Manpreet. Persian is a common man's language, but then you have various scholars during the Delhi Sultanate period and Mughal period who were patronized. Many Persian scholars were patronized by the Mughals as well as the Delhi Sultans. So you have the many Persian elites. You see, a lot of Persian elites came to India following the Mongol attacks in Central Asia, and they expected, according to these Persian elites who came to India, they expected the king to be tolerant and also encourage people from various religions. they were very broad-minded, the Persian elite who came to India. So they believed in this philosophy that a king should give shelter to all sections of people, irrespective of what religion that person follows, and also patronize, encourage letters, fine arts and letters. So it coincided with they coming to India, coincided with the Mongol attacks on Central Asia. So Persian um, language, of course, was Persian as a language was the language of the common people there in Central Asia, etc. But then it was patronized by scholars here, by the kings and the scholars here in India. Is it okay, Manpreet? So it was a common man's language, but it was that's why probably it was encouraged also here in this country, not Arabic. So let us talk about philosophical schools, Indian philosophy. See, I will tell you this philosophical topic. Some philosophies are easy to follow. Some are easy. Some might go above your head. But then UPSC has asked one or two questions in the prelims. So we will try to understand this topic called philosophy. What are the things which Indian philosophers have dealt with? What are the topic? What are the type of topics? It's mostly metaphysical topics. That is known to unknown. For example, whether God exists, whether there is God or not. So this is one question they have tried to answer. Soul, whether there is something called a soul, whether there is rebirth, is there a concept called karma? Okay, so God, soul, rebirth, karma, uh, so see, these are some of the issues dealt with by Indian philosophical schools, various Indian philosophical schools. So, my suggestion to all of you is some are easy, very easy to understand. Some may be a little bit difficult. One or two philosophical schools may be difficult to understand. So, try to understand them. If you cannot understand, don't worry about it. Okay. So there are many other literatures like Assamese, Kashmiri, Gujarati. Uh, um, so Anjali, just refer to Nitin Singhania. I would say refer to Nitin Singhania. I would focus upon Bengali literature, Hindi literature, and important authors, maybe important books written in Assamese, maybe Ramayana in Assamese or Mahabharata in Assamese, the three important authors in Assamese language or Gujarati language or and literature, such things you remember. Like, for example, Kannada, Tamil, Trimurtis of Tamil literature, Kamban, Ottakuttan, Pugalendi, the Trimurtis of Kannada literature like Ranna, Punna, okay, so like that. Um, so such things you remember. So that's what philosophy. Philosophy is so it deals with all these topics. Sham, philosophy. I would not know the theoretical definition of philosophy, but philosophy would deal with these things. From known to unknown, more of abstract thinking like God, soul, rebirth, karma. So that is called. Those are the topics it deals with. More of metaphysical topics. From known to unknown. From known to unknown. Did you get me, Sham? So these are the type of topics it deals with. Now let us come back here and look at some of the important Indian philosophical schools. Like, for example, Ajivika sect, Charvaka sect, the Shaddarshana, Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, like that. And then, of course, we have the great philosophers Shankara, Madhva, Ramanujacharya, like that, Nimbaraka. So let's talk about it. So Ajivika sect, who was the founder? Makkali Goshala or Goshala, Maskari Putra. So you have Vardhaman Mahavir, as you all know, Vardhamana Mahavira. He left home at the age of 30 years, isn't it? Turkish, only a few books in Turkish language. I told you Persian was promoted here in India, Dipesh. Persian language and literature it flourished in this country. Delhi Sultans, Mughals, they all promoted Persian language and literature, not any other language, not even Arabic, for that matter, not even not even Turkish. Very few books were written in Turkish language, like Babar Nama or Tuzuki Babar, written by Babar. It was all they promoted Persian language and literature. So Vardhamana Mahavir, his student was a person called Goshala Maskariputra. Goshala Maskariputra. So Vardhaman Mahavir left home at the age of 30 years, you all know. And for the next 12 years, he was wandering. That is till the age of 42 years. And out of these 12 years, the first 6 years of his wandering was with this person called Goshala Maskariputra. Goshala was a disciple of Vardhaman Mahavir. He was a student of this Vardhaman Mahavir. He accompanied Vardhamana in his wanderings. Out of the 12 years, 6 years he wandered around along with his guru. But then after 6 years, they had differences over two issues. What are the differences over which they had, which led to their split? One was the rejuvenation of the soul, whether the soul rejuvenates itself or not. So they fought over two issues. One was rejuvenation. That is rejuvenation of what? Rejuvenation of soul, of the soul. And secondly, about nudism. Vardhaman was for nudism, whereas Makkali Goshala was against nudism. So over these two issues, they had differences, and ultimately they parted ways. Makkali Goshala later began to, went on to found a new sect called the Ajivika sect. So he became the founder of the Ajivika sect. He called himself as Jinnah. Vardhama, this Makkali Goshala called himself as Jinnah and made Shravasti as his headquarters. Shravasti became the headquarters of the Ajivika sect. And he is supposed to have died 16 years before Mahavira. Goshala Maskariputra died 16 years before Mahavira. So he was in that way a senior contemporary of the Buddha. He was a senior contemporary of the Buddha. Pontiff means chart. Pontiff is the head of the mutt. Now, for example, the Pope is the pontiff of the Roman Catholic Church. The head of the Roman Catholic Church, the pontiff, is the Pope. Similarly, the pontiff of a mutt, the head of the mutt is called Matadipati, the head of a mutt. Matadipati. So pontiff would be the head of a religious order, head of a religious order. Pontiff. In simple language, Matadipati. You can call that person as Matadipati. Matadipati. Tra, did you get me? So here, what are the teachings of the Ajivika sect? Okay, so here he was supposed to be the third pontiff, Makkali Goshala. He was preceded by two other pontiffs. One was Nandavacha. The first pontiff was Nandavacha. And then the second pontiff, Kisasom Kicha. Kisasom Kicha was the second pontiff. Goshala happened to be the third pontiff. So what is the Ajivika philosophy? What does it talk about? First of all, they rejected God outright. So it was an atheistic sect. It did not believe in God. So it was atheistic in nature. So it rejected God outright. It denied the concept of karma. So they said that there's nothing called karma. Man is subject to the laws of nature. Man is subject to the laws of nature, and therefore action cannot lead man out of the inevitable. So a quiet view of the life is desirable. So man is subject to the laws of nature. Then it believes in the concept of niyati, that is predeterminism. Everything is already determined for you. You cannot change your destiny because even before your birth, everything has been decided for you. At the time of your birth, your future has been decided already. So you cannot change destiny. So do whatever you want. That is called niyati. So Makkali Goshala is the earliest teacher of predeterminism. Predeterminism. Makkali Goshala, earliest teacher of predeterminism. He is the earliest teacher of predeterminism, or what is called niyati, destiny. So you cannot change one's destiny. Already things have been decided for you, so do whatever you want. And I believe they used to consider the Ashoka tree as sacred. So they worship the Ashoka tree, and they always used to carry a bunch of peacock feathers. And this sect became, lost its popularity after the Mauryan period. After the Mauryan period, it lost its popularity. We have seen this. Bindusar, that is Ashoka's father, was a patron of the Ajivika sect. Chandragupta Maurya patronized the Jainism. Bindusara patronized the Ajivika sect. And we have Ashoka. You remember this? Ashoka donated 4 caves. He donated 4 caves in the Bara Hills, Bihar, to the Ajivika monks. And his grandson, Dasharatha, Ashoka's grandson, Dasharatha, donated 3 caves in the nearby Nagarjuni Hills to the Ajivika monks for their residential purposes. So they were a pretty popular sect during the Mauryan period, but then they lost their popularity after the Mauryan period. But then, very interestingly, I have added an extra point for you. You can see here, these are extra information on the Ajivika sect. They are called Ekadandins. That is single staff. They used to carry a single staff, single stick with them. That's why they are called Ekadandins. And they used to follow rigorous practices, meditative practices. They were generally solitary, always alone, meditating day and night, okay, punishing their body by denying food, water, sleep. And they used to go begging. They used to go begging to different houses, but very, very quaintly, they'll beg in the second or the fourth or the sixth or the eighth house, like that. They'll not go to every house. They'll have this pattern. So some of them would go beg in every second or third or fourth or fifth or sixth or even seventh house. Sometimes they will ask for a lotus stalk to be given to them in their begging. So when they go to somebody's house, they will ask a lotus stalk to be given to them as a reward. Then, in case there's a lightning, I believe they will not beg. If there's a lightning, they will not beg. Many of them used to sit in earthen vessels, big matkas, pots, and they'll meditate inside that. So here they did believe in 2 Vedic gods. One is, of course, Punnabhadra, Purnabhadra, and Manibhadra. So these are supposedly some Vedic gods which they used to worship. And then, very interestingly, we have, though the Ajivika sect lost its popularity after the Mauryan period, we have references to the Ajivika sect in Harshacharita of Bana. Harsha rules came in the 7th century AD. So Bana talks about this particular sect. Bana in his Harshacharita mentions about it. Then we have the Tamil writers, in South India. They also mention about it existing in the 14th century AD. Even as late as the 14th century AD, they mention about the Ajivika sect. And ultimately, the Ajivikas merged into the Vaishnava sect. It is said that they merged into the Vaishnava sect. So everything, this is about Ajivika sect. Did you understand? This is Ajivika sect. So they rejected God outright. It is an atheistic sect. They denied the concept of karma. Then they believe in niyati. That is, you cannot change man's destiny. Man cannot change his destiny. Everything has already been decided for him. Therefore, do whatever you want. Okay, this is about Ajivika sect. Are you there with me? Clear? This is Ajivika sect. Can I move on to the next sect? This is Ajivika sect. This is, I think, pretty easy. Ajivika sect is pretty easy. Then we come to the Charvaka or Lokayata or Uchchedavada sect. Charvaka, Lokayata or Uchchedavada sect. Founder was Ajita Keshakambalin, and his followers came to be called Keshakambalins. The followers of the teachings of Ajita Keshakambalin came to be called Keshakambalin. Yeah, in course of time. So we have Satyam. They did not believe in God. That is true. But then there are a number of Vedic and non-Vedic gods mentioned in the Ajivika philosophy. Two of them are Purnabhadra and Manibhadra. Yeah, it's a non-atheistic sect. It was an atheistic sect. It did not believe in God. Zeba, yeah, if Goshala is the founder, then he should be the first pontiff rather than the third. Yeah, he was the one who made this. We can presume that he was the one who made this sect popular. Therefore, he's called the third pontiff. Though he's the third pontiff, he is considered to be the founder, the actual founder. Okay. easy लेकिन फिर भी दिमाग से उड़ गया है. Okay, that's how it is. This is that's why philosophy topic. That's why I told you. This is easy. We'll come to the more difficult ones a little bit in some time. Just hold on. So this is easy, relatively easy. Satyam, did you get me? So they, so in course of time, they did believe in a few gods, Vedic and non-Vedic gods, but generally it is an atheistic sect. So, for example, you see, I mentioned here, Satyam, the Pavaya inscription on the pedestal of a statue belong to 100 BC refers to Manibhadra Bhaktas, devotees of Manibhadra, right? So, and I told you later they have merged into Vaishnavism. So they did believe in gods in the vast pantheon of Ajivika, followers. Some of them believed in gods. So that's what it is. But generally, it was an atheistic sect. So Charvaka, also called Lokayata or Uchchedavada sect, founder was Ajita Keshagambalin. The followers of this sect are known as Keshagambalins. So it was again an atheistic sect, did not believe in God, promoted materialism. So what does it say? Real things are that which are felt by man's five senses. So whatever man feels from his five senses, that is real. And what he cannot feel does not exist. For example, what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we touch, that is real, right? So what cannot be felt by man's senses cannot exist. That is number one. Very interesting. Then human body is composed of the five elements, panchabhutas, that is fire, water, earth, akasha, air, right? So human body consists of five panchabhutas. It rejects the concept of soul, karma, punarjanma. There's nothing called soul, there's nothing called karma and punarjanma. So you're born on this earth, like a cockroach is born on this earth, and the cockroach dies, we also die, and that's about it. Right? There's nothing called soul, janma, punarjanma, karma, and all that. Right? This is the Charvaka or Lokayata or Uchchedavada sect. Founder was Ajita Keshkambalin. Yeah, Satyam, they might or might not have worn clothes. I mentioned it here. You see here, Satyam, it is go through this extra information I've given you. This is only for the students' clarity. So I generally give a yellow background. This yellow background has been removed. Whenever I give an extra information, I put a yellow background. So that is missing here in this particular page. So you can see here. Um, they followed extreme asceticism and austerities of all kinds, that is, punishing the body by denying it food, water, sleep. They loved solitude, and disdained comforts and even decencies. Satyam, did you get me that? They loved solitude and disdained comforts, rejected comforts, and even decencies. So there might have been, some of them might have been naked also. So to say that everybody was naked would be wrong. Okay, got it. So these are all philosophies which existed around the 6th century BC, around that time, um, Deepesh. Goshala, Satyam, they had differences over two issues. One is nudism. One is over the issue of nudism. Mahavira was against wearing clothes. So he believed in aparigraha, non-possession. So if you wear clothes, that is equal to possession. And then, of course, rejuvenation of the soul, whether the soul rejuvenates itself or not. Okay. So I go by Anjali. I go by what I have collected, whatever books I have referred to. So, book says Vitishapati, Brihaspati. That may be the traditional founder, but Charvaka, the founder was this man. That is Ajita Kesha Kambalin. So he's supposed to be the. Yeah, it is Anita. Why do you say this is a recorded class? This is very much a live class. So we'll come back here. This is about Ajivika philosophy. Then we come to Shad Darshanas. Shad Darshanas. Shad means what? Shad means six. Darshana means philosophy. Shad means six. Darshana means philosophy. So we have six philosophies. So Samkhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa. Three persons are same. Tara, I did not understand your question. So we'll come to the six darshanas. So first of all, we come to Sankhya philosophy. So all of you are there with me. So just focus what I'm doing now. Sankhya philosophy. So let us understand this Sankhya philosophy. What is the Sankhya philosophy? I'll tell you the gist of the philosophy. Go back and read the PPTs. Go back and read the PPTs and try to understand them. Okay. I'll tell you the gist of it, each of the philosophies. Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya philosophy was given by Kapila. So he was the one who gave this philosophy. Kapila is the one who gave the Sankhya philosophy. Kapila. So according to Kapila, he says in his Sankhya philosophy, there are two ultimate realities. There are only two realities, two ultimate realities, Purusha and Prakriti. Understand this, Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha is the transcendental self, that is, which does not change. It is the soul, Atma. Purusha is the self-consciousness, the transcendental self, which does not change. Okay, that is Purusha. And Prakriti consists of three elements. Prakriti consists of three elements, Sattva, Tamas, and Rajas. Sattva is pure state of harmony. Tamas is state of darkness. And Rajas is attraction, energy, state of energy. So Purusha is the transcendental self, which does not change. And Prakriti consists of three elements. Sattva is the pure state of harmony. Tamas is a state of darkness. And Rajas, attraction, energy, state of energy. Now what he says is, everything is going smoothly. The universe is functioning smoothly because these three gunas, Sattva, Tamas, Rajas, are functioning smoothly. Right? Sattva, Tamas, Rajas are functioning smoothly. So everything is going smoothly. But sometimes what happens is, two join together. Out of the three gunas, which are part of Prakriti, two join together and overpower the third guna. For example, Sattva and Tamas join together and overpower Rajas, or Sattva and Rajas join together and overpower Tamas, or Tamas and Rajas join together and overpower Sattva. So two out of the three will sometimes join together and overpower the third. And that's when disequilibrium happens. That's when disequilibrium happens in the universe. This is number one. I repeat. Sankhya philosophy was given by Kapila. He says there are two ultimate realities, Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha is the transcendental self, right, which does not change. Okay, so it does not change. It is a transcendental self, something like the Atma, the soul. And Prakriti consists of three gunas, three attributes, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Now, everything is going smoothly in the universe because these three gunas are working in tandem. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas are working in tandem. But sometimes what happens is, two elements, two gunas join together and overpower the third guna. As I told you, for example, Sattva and Rajas join together and overpower Tamas. Or Sattva and Tamas join together and overpower Rajas. That is when disequilibrium happens. This is number one. Number two, he says that Purusha influences the Prakriti. Purusha doesn't come in contact with Prakriti. Purusha influences the Prakriti, and it is Prakriti which brings about change. I repeat, so he gives the example of, let us take the example of magnet and iron powder, iron filings or iron powder and magnet. So when you bring the magnet close to the iron filings, iron pieces, what will happen? You're not touching the iron filings. Just because the magnet is coming close to the iron filings go and stick to the magnet. Similarly, Purusha doesn't come in contact with Prakriti, but it influences the Prakriti, right? And it is Prakriti which brings about the change. This is number two. Third is, for every cause, there's an effect. And for every effect, there has to be a cause. This is called Sat-Karyavad view. Sat-Karyavad view. For every cause, there's an effect. And for every effect, there has to be a cause. That's called Sat-Karyavad view. So, this is about the Sankhya philosophy given by Kapila. Did you understand? Hello? Okay, so I have given you key points here. So here, Purusha is the efficient cause. Purusha is the one which influences the Prakriti. So that's called efficient cause. And Prakriti is the material cause, with that which brings about the change. So key elements, two ultimate realities, that is Purusha and Prakriti. It talks about the doctrine of evolution. then there is pluralism. There's not one Purusha but many. So Sankhya philosophy believes that self-knowledge, rather than any external influence or agent, leads to freedom. Samkhya is the philosophical basis of yoga philosophy given by Patanjali. So self-knowledge is the one which brings about change. It is than any other external influence. This is about Sankhya philosophy. Did you understand? Hello, can you raise your hands? Yeah, this philosophy is quite simple and easy. Okay, thank you, Putra. You understood. What about others? Zeba, yes. You want me to repeat? Do you want me to repeat? Anybody here? Understood. Okay. All of you clear. Great. So let us move to the second one. Okay. So Sankhya philosophy. This is Sankhya philosophy. So please understand, aim of all these philosophies was to attain moksha. The aim of all these philosophies is to attain moksha. What is moksha? Freedom from rebirth. Freedom from rebirth. Because if we are born on this earth, we have to go through the ups and downs of life. We are never born on this earth. We are always in heaven. We are enjoying everything. We are enjoying the fruits of being in heaven. So moksha, aim of all these philosophies is to attain moksha, freedom from rebirth. Repeat Sankhya philosophy. Okay, Deepesh. So Sankhya philosophy was given by Kapila, number one. He says there are two ultimate realities, Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha is the transcendental self, which does not change. It is like the soul, the Atma, which doesn't change. And Prakriti consists of three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Sometimes, when these three are working in tandem, Sattva, Tamas, Rajas are working beautifully in tandem, everything is going smoothly in the universe. But sometimes two gunas join together and overpower the third guna. That's when disequilibrium happens. That is when disequilibrium happens. Right? That is number one. Number two is Purusha doesn't come in contact with Prakriti, but influences the Prakriti. And I gave the example of magnet and iron filings. So Purusha is the efficient cause. It is the one which influences the Prakriti, and Prakriti is the material cause, which actually brings about the change. So Purusha doesn't come in contact with Prakriti, it influences the Prakriti. And Prakriti is the one which brings about change in this universe. So it talks about the evolution of the universe. And thirdly, for every cause there's an effect, and for every effect there has to be a cause. Okay, for every cause there's an effect, and for every effect there has to be a cause. That is called Satkaryavad view. For example, let us say you're going on the road in your motorcycle or scooter, let us say, and you see a police van, and they have handcuffed some fellow. No, they have handcuffed him and they're putting him in the jeep, right? So what do you presume? You presume that person must have done some crime. Okay, he must have done some crime, and that is the effect of that crime. So he is being handcuffed because he has done something wrong, very wrong. And that's why he has been handcuffed. For every effect, there is a cause, and for every cause, there's an effect. That's what the Samkhya philosophy believes in. So, whatever happens in this universe is because of your own reason. No external cause is responsible for it. It's all because of um, you know because of self-knowledge. So it believes that self-knowledge, rather than any external influence or agent, leads to freedom. So this is what it is, Sankhya philosophy. Deepesh, are you there with me? Then we come to yoga. Now look here, yoga philosophy given by Patanjali. Yoga philosophy given by Patanjali. Now, Sankhya talks about attachment of Purusha and Prakriti. Sankhya philosophy talks about attachment of Purusha with Prakriti. Yoga talks about detachment. That is how you detach Purusha from Prakriti. And how do you detach Purusha from Prakriti? By doing yoga. So, for example, you can see on your screen, these are the various asana, yoga you do. What are the various aspects of yoga? Yama, self-control. Yama, self-control. Niyama, what is self-control? That is, for example, um, you know, in yoga, when you practice yoga, the yoga master might tell you, don't eat non-veg, okay, or no, don't consume alcohol, don't smoke. That's called self-control. Yama, self-control. Okay, niyama, there are certain rules to follow in yoga. Asana, fixed postures. There are fixed postures like Padmasana, Shirshasana, etc. So fixed postures are there. You can see on your screen many yoga postures. Then pranayama, breath control. breathing in, breathing out, breath control. Pratyahara, choosing an object. So in your mind, you choose an object to focus upon. Okay, so the guru will tell you, you close your eyes and you visualize an object, okay, or maybe an idol, or maybe a fire in your, in your forehead, etc., and you're focusing on that object. So choosing an object. Dharana, fixing the mind on that object. Dhyana, concentrating on that object. Apart from breathing, slowly inhale, exhale, you're also focusing on some object in your mind. And lastly, samadhi, complete samadhi. Complete samadhi is not dying. Here, complete samadhi is you have gone deep into meditation. Like, for example, Swami Vivekananda is supposed to have gone into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Nirvikalpa Samadhi, I believe he used to give a code word to his students. One or two, one word he would give them. And he would tell them that he is going into Nirvikalpa Samadhi and he should not be disturbed unless it is something very, very urgent. And for 2 days, 3 days, Swami Vivekananda would be meditating and he would have gone deep into a different state of mind. And only if his students had to wake him up, they will use that word and then he'll come out of that Nirvikalpa Samadhi. That is called complete Samadhi, right? This is yoga. So Patanjali says if you do yoga, you can attain moksha. So these are the rules of yoga. So yoga talks about detachment of Purusha from Prakriti. Sankhya talks about attachment of Purusha with Prakriti. Did you understand? This is easy. Yoga, you do yoga, you get moksha. This is second philosophy. Did you understand? Hello? Can I move on? Next philosophical school. So Sankhya by Kapila, Yoga by Patanjali. Third, Dipesh, that is one of, I was just giving an example of Samadhi. Baba Ramdev Ali Patanjali, probably he has been inspired by that Tra, because he is also yoga master, Baba Ramdev. So Patanjali is the person who gave the yoga philosophy. Okay. Dipesh, Nirvikalpa Samadhi is the, I just gave an example of Samadhi. One type of Samadhi is that going completely deep within your mind. Like, for example, Buddha sat for meditation under the sacred people tree, fig tree, isn't it? And then Mara sent his daughters, to disturb Siddhartha. They could not. Servants he sent, they could not, because Buddha was deep in meditation. Siddhartha had gone into deeper and deeper levels of meditation. And probably that is the type of focus required for UPSC candidates. So, I have many students who come to me, very promising students, but then they falter because of something happened, because they got distracted. And that's the age also to get distracted. But then, you have to be like Buddha or like Swami Vivekananda in your focus. Okay, did you get me that? All of you? Clear? Clear? Hello? Okay. Then we come to Nyaya philosophy. So Nyaya philosophy was given by Akshapada Gautama. Akshapada Gautama. So Nyaya philosophy given by Akshapada Gautama. Now understand this. Nyaya philosophy given by Akshapada Gautama. What is this philosophy about? Nyaya. Why do human beings suffer on this earth? Why do human beings suffer on this earth? Because of lack of right knowledge. Human beings suffer on this earth because of lack of right knowledge. Lack of right knowledge. Once they get the right knowledge, they will not suffer. Once they get the right knowledge, they will not suffer. They will not suffer. That's what the Nyaya philosophy believes in. Human beings suffer because of lack of right knowledge. Once right knowledge is given to them or they come to know, then they'll not suffer. So according to Nyaya philosophy, there are 4 valid sources of knowledge. Valid sources of knowledge. 4 sources of knowledge. Look here on your screen. Pratyaksha. Understand this. Pratyaksha. Perception. What you perceive through your five senses. Understand this. What you perceive through your five senses or otherwise. What you perceive through your five senses or otherwise. For example, you're studying in your room, in your house, and your mother is cooking something very nice, and the smell drifts through, into your study room, and you're excited because you have smelled a very tasty food being cooked in the kitchen, and you run to the kitchen, right? So that is one way of knowledge, one form of knowledge. You hear something. So whatever you get, whatever knowledge you gain through your five senses, pratyaksha, perception, right? Or otherwise. What's the meaning of otherwise? For example, let's say dream. We'll take the example, which is there popular in among people. We have this great mathematician from India, isn't it? Srinivasa Ramanujam. Srinivasa Ramanujam, great mathematician. He died at a very young age. In his 30s, he died. I think 32 or so, he died. Now, he had a friend called Adam Hardy. Adam Hardy. Srinivasa Ramanujam. And we are told, Adam Hardy has told us, I believe Srinivasa Ramanujam used to tell him this, that, every night, Srinivasa Ramanujam, the great mathematician from India, used to always sleep with a pencil and a paper next to him. A pen or a paper, pen and a paper, or a pencil and a paper next to him. So he'll go to sleep in the night with a pencil and a paper placed next to his mattress, next to his bed. And I believe sometimes he used to experience dreams. The village goddess, his village goddess, would come in the dream, and she will narrate formulas to Srinivasam Ramajanam. So she will narrate some formulas in the dream, and she'll disappear. So as soon as the dream got over and the formula is fresh in the mind of Ramanujam, he will get up and he will scribble that formula, which the goddess has narrated in his dream, and he'll get back to sleep. So this is what Adam Hardy tells us. And even now, many of the formulas of Srinivasa Ramanujam are even now a mystery. We are not able to solve those formulas. This could be one example. Or let's take the example of a Sufi saint. For example, Nizamuddin Auliya. We have done this. Muhammad bin Tughlaq, the Tughlaqs we have done, and has the founder of the Tughlaq dynasty, Ghiyazuddin Tughlaq, was going away from Delhi on his Bengal campaign. Saint Nizamuddin Auliya, the Chishti Sufi saint, he gave a prophecy. He said the Sultan will never come back alive to Delhi. And that's what happened. He died in an accident. Ghiyazuddin Tughlaq died in an accident on the outskirts of Delhi. So you might wonder, how did Nizamuddin Auliya come to know about that? Extrasensory perception, sixth sense as we call it. So this is an example of knowledge which you gain otherwise. So what knowledge you gain through your five senses or otherwise. Did you understand? So this is pratyaksha. So this is one way of gaining knowledge. Pratyaksha or other. That is knowledge gained through your five senses or otherwise. Can you raise your hands? Did you understand? Pratyaksha. This is one way of gaining knowledge. Second is anumana, inference. Anumana. For example, fire on a hill is equal to smoke on a hill is equal to fire on a hill. Inference. So for example, you're going in your car or going in a bus, okay, and far away on a hill, you see a smoke. You see smoke. So what is your mind telling? There is fire. There is fire, therefore there is smoke. So smoke is equal to fire and vice versa. That's what you infer, isn't it? So smoke on a hill is equal to fire on a hill. You can see I'm giving you an example. Smoke on a hill is equal to fire on a hill. That is anumana, inference. So infer. So that is another way of gaining knowledge. Third, upamana, comparison. Upamana, comparison. So let's say you have not seen so somebody, let us say, has gone to um, let's say you've gone to Himalayas, right? So somebody has gone to the Himalayas and he sees a yak. Right? And he comes and narrates that incident. He says that the yak, he has gone riding in his motorcycle in the Himalayas, and then a yak comes across An yak attacks the motorcycle, let us say, okay, or he goes and rams his motorcycle into a yak, and he fell down and he broke his leg. And he is narrating this incident to one of his friends, and that person will ask him, yak, how does a yak look like? And this person will say, it looks something like an ox. The yak looks something like an ox, right? Then when he sees a real yak, when that person who doesn't know about a yak sees a real yak, then he will understand, okay, it looks very much like an ox. That is called comparison, upamana. Did you understand? That is knowledge gained through upamana or comparison. Or let us say, take another example. Let's say wild boar. Somebody has gone into the forest for hunting, and a wild boar, attacks that person, and that wild boar digs his one of his horns into that person's thighs, and that person falls down, and the boar runs away. Wild boar runs away. Now that person comes and narrates the incident to one fellow that a wild boar attacked me. And this person doesn't know how a wild boar looks like. So this person who has been attacked will tell him, it looks like a pig. It's something like a pig, wild boar. And when that person sees a wild boar, really, then he'll understand it looks something like a pig. This is upamana or comparison. Knowledge gained through upamana or comparison. Clear? So pratyaksha, anumana, upamana. All clear? First three are clear. Then we come to shabda. Okay. So knowledge gained through shabda. So don't take my examples seriously. I'm trying to just simplify things, right? It might sound stupid, but then this is just to convey the information, message. So shabda, sound or testimony. Another way of gaining knowledge is sound or testimony. So what are the rules for this? First of all, that statement should be given by an apta. Apta means very close to. That statement should be clear, number one. And second, it should be given by an apta. Apta means very, very close to you. That is shabda. For example, let's say you have made a new friend. In your neighborhood, you have made a new friend. Let's say a boy called A. You made a new friend, and you are excited about that friend called A. And you discuss about that person, about that friend you met today with your parents, with your father, mother, etc. After a few days, your father comes running to you and tells him not to befriend A. Your father tells him, don't befriend A. And you ask him why. He's such a nice fellow. So your father tells him that that fellow has a criminal case against him. He has murdered 2 people. Police are looking out for him. I'm just giving a stupid example, but don't take it seriously. So let's say, he's murdered 2 people, and he is into robbery, etc. He's into drugs, and so on and so forth. And he's an antisocial element. He's always among antisocial elements. He's not the right friend for you because you're preparing for UPSC. Okay, we don't want any trouble. So who is making this statement? Your father. So he's apta, close to you, right? He's apta, close to you, and you can trust your father. And that statement is very clear, and he's giving you examples. His friends, 2, 3 people. Your father's friends have given the information, and he gives those examples to you. He says that person, my friend A, my friend B, and his son also has, reiterated whatever I told you. So therefore, don't befriend A. So this is shabda, knowledge gained through shabda, sound or testimony. So this is Nyaya philosophy given by Akshapada Gautama. Did you get me that? There are 4 valid sources of knowledge. Man suffers on this earth because of lack of knowledge. Once he gets the right knowledge, then he will stop suffering. Okay, this is Nyaya philosophy. Then, you can see here. Did you get me that? Upamana is comparison. Akshata, upamana is comparison. For example, I've given you an example. You can see here, upamana. So, for example, someone who has never seen a wild ox is told that it resembles a cow. When a person sees the wild dog, he or she observes that it is similar to a cow and thus believes it to be a wild ox. Yeah, did you get me that? Akshata. Pratyaksha is perception. Yasin, pratyaksha is what non-information you get through your 5 senses. Touch, smell, sight, hearing, all those things. Shabda is that statement should be clear. Whatever statement is given to you, it should be clear, and it should be given by somebody very close to you. Apta. So you can see here, just go through this. So is knowledge derived from word or sentence? But there are two conditions. First, that statement should be well understood, and second, it should have been come. It should have come from a trustworthy person who is apta. That is, apta means close to you. Close to you. Yeah, just try. Good. I really appreciate that you're understanding it. But is it, you know, is it clear, all of you? What about others? Yeah, you can call that Surya. A guru teaching or imparting knowledge to his shishya is Shabda. Very good. That could be an example. Yeah, all clear. Great. So Nyaya given by Gautama gives us the theory of knowledge. It is related to logic or anvikshiki, and there are four sources of valid knowledge: perception, inference, etc. Okay. So we have done first three: Sankhya, Kapila, Yoga, Patanjali, Nyaya, Akshapada, Gautama. Then Vaisheshika. Understand this, very simple. Vaisheshika philosophy given by Kannada. So mind the spelling here. It's not Kannada, it is Kannada. Kannada. Vaisheshika philosophy. What does Vaisheshika philosophy say? Understand the gist of it. Nyaya philosophy believes there are four sources of valid knowledge. Nyaya philosophy. Vaisheshika philosophy says there are only two sources of valid knowledge. Not four, but two. That is the first two. Pratyaksha, perception, what knowledge you gave through your gain through your five senses or otherwise, and anumana, inference. So there are only two sources of valid knowledge: Pratyaksha and Anumana. In all other respects, it is similar to the Nyaya philosophy, Vaisheshika philosophy. In all other respect, in all other respects, it doesn't differ from the Nyaya philosophy. It is very similar to the Nyaya philosophy, this Vaisheshika philosophy. And then Karna says, in this Vaisheshika philosophy, says every it is not necessary that there should be a cause for every effect. An effect, every effect it can be a new beginning. So it doesn't presuppose the existence of a cause for an effect. So what did I say? As part of Sankhya philosophy, every cause has an effect and vice versa. That's what we are told as part of Sankhya philosophy. Every cause has an effect and every effect has to have a cause. Vaisheshika philosophy says you don't need to have a cause for an effect. An effect could be a new beginning. Every effect could be a new beginning. Let's take the example of, let me take one hypothetical example. Let's say there's a person called A. Okay, there's a person called A. He's preparing to join the army. He wants to be an army officer. So he's preparing to join the army. Okay. So let's say he's, young boy, is about 16, 17 years old. He's doing a lot of running, gymming, etc. And he wants to join the army. And also he's studying hard to join the NDA, etc. And let us say he meets with an accident. And he's slightly, physically handicapped. He becomes physically handicapped. And he is distraught, he's profusely crying. He's inconsolable that his dream of becoming an army officer is now shattered. Then his father will tell him, let's say his father will tell him, why don't you just prepare for UPSC? You prepare for UPSC and you can become an IPS officer. Okay, you get through the exam, you can become an IPS officer, and there is some quota for physically handicapped also. If you come within that particular, slot, you can become an IPS officer. So this fellow feels very happy, and he starts preparing for UPSC. And later, let us say he becomes an IPS officer with slight physical handicap also. He is able to wear a uniform and become a uniformed officer. So this is an effect. He had a problem. He met with an accident. He could not pursue his dream of becoming an army officer, but then later he became an IPS officer, right? So every effect is a new beginning. It necessarily doesn't need to have a cause, right? You don't worry about the cause. It's a new beginning. That's what Vaisheshika philosophy says. Did you get me? I don't know about that, Sham. Whether all these philosophies are included in sociology optional. I don't think so. It must be in the philosophy optional. Are you there with me, Vaisheshika philosophy? Hello. Every effect is a new beginning. So, see, I would tell you this. So, if somebody doesn't get through in the first attempt, don't worry. It's a new beginning. You have extra time to prepare for next year. So that's like that. Vaisheshika philosophy. Remember Vaisheshika philosophy in your life, right? So because UPSC is only part of your life, it is not life. So it is part of your life. If the challenge you have taken, and if you get through, great. If doesn't get through, it's a new beginning. So remember that Vaisheshika philosophy. So have that attitude, you will do very well in the exam. Optimistic philosophy. Zeba, great. Optimistic philosophy. Right? So you put, boys put application for a girl, and let us say the girl rejects. Don't worry. There's always another application to be put for another girl. Right? It's like that. Vaisheshika philosophy. Be positive. Vaisheshika philosophy. Clear? So this is right. This is Vaisheshika philosophy given by Canada. Every effect is a new beginning, and only there are two sources of knowledge. Okay, Pratyaksha and Anumana. If that part of life is lost, then what is remedy? So, Rajneesh, it is a lesson learned. Okay, if that part of life is lost, then what is the remedy? It is a lesson learned. Lesson well learned to be passed on to other generations and not to be committed again. Okay. So, and then of course, Vaisheshika philosophy speaks about atoms. Understand this. So it talks about atoms. So it talks about the atomic theory. What is atomic theory? That there are certain objects, particles in this universe which cannot be further divided. There are certain particles, minute particles in this universe that cannot be further divided. So they are called atoms, or so it talks about the atomic theory, atoms or anus. It talks about atoms or anus. So this is Vaisheshika philosophy for you. Okay, that's called Padarth. So atoms are called Padarth. So it talks about, so given by Kannada, gives atomic theory, recognizes 6 categories of Padarth. So 6 categories of Anu. You don't need to remember that. 6 categories of Padarth or atoms, like Dravya, Guna, Karma, Samanya. Don't worry about that. And of course, it doesn't believe in pre-existence of cause. Every effect is a new beginning. It necessarily doesn't have to have a cause. Don't worry about the cause. Akshata, is there no cause for effects? No. Effect is the result of a cause. Effect is the result of a cause. But then don't worry about the cause. Effect is a new beginning. Effect is a new beginning. Don't worry about the cause. Okay. Then we come to Mimamsa, Purva Mimamsa, given by Jaimini. So, what does it say? Very simple. Mimamsa, Purva Mimamsa. Now, Mimamsa philosophy given by Jaimini. He says there's only one source of knowledge. There's only one source of knowledge, that is the Vedic knowledge, Vedas. It only believes in Shabda. It only believes in Shabda as a source of valid knowledge. No other things are valid except Shabda. And here, when we say Shabda, it means the Vedic knowledge, the Vedic literature. Everything is there. All knowledge is there in the Vedic literature. So it believes in the Vedas as such, the knowledge contained in the Vedas. So it believes in only one source of knowledge, that is Shabda or Vedas. And then Vedic knowledge is divided into two parts. One is the Gnana Marga and the other is the Karma Marga. Understand this. Gnana Marga, Karma Marga. So Karma Marga is the ritualistic portion of the Vedas. Like you can see here. So you have the Karma Kanda, that is Samhitas and Brahmanas deal with Karma Kanda, that is rituals, and Aranyakas Upanishads deal with Gnana or knowledge. So here the Mimamsa philosophy believes in the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas, the ritualistic part of the Vedas, which come earlier than the Gnana Kanda. Therefore, it is called Purva Mimamsa, that which came first, Purva Mimamsa. So it believes in Shabda or word of the Veda, okay, and it believes in the Vedic rituals, revelations by the Vedas themselves, and Vedic rituals. That is called Karma Kanda. So This is the Mimamsa or Purva Mimamsa philosophy given by Jaimini. So what does he say? Jaimini, there's only one source of knowledge, that is Shabda. And he believes in the Vedic testimony, that is Vedic knowledge. Whatever knowledge you require are there in the Vedas. The sound of the Vedas, everything is there in the Vedas. You don't need to go anywhere else. And secondly, he believes in the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas, that is the ritualistic part of the Vedas, and that's called Purva Mimamsa. That's why called Purva Mimamsa. Okay, Karma Kanda. So it's one of the orthodox schools of Indian philosophy and believes in the earlier parts of the Vedas called the Karma Kanda. Therefore, it is also known as Purva Mimamsa, prior study. Are you there with me? Clear? Clear? This is the Mimamsa philosophy. Okay, Mimamsa philosophy. So the earliest work of this school is the Mimamsa Sutra of Jaimini. Then we have Shabara Swamin, Kumari Labhatta, and Prabhakara are the other exponents of this philosophy, Purva Mimamsa philosophy. The earliest work of this system is Purva Mimamsa Sutra, written by Jaimini. So Shabara Swamin, Kumari Labhatta, Prabhakara are the other exponents of this philosophy. So it talks about the law of karma, authority of Vedas, believes in verbal testimony, that is Vedic testimony, believes in Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas. That's why it's called Purva Mimamsa. That's why called Purva Mimamsa. The ritualistic part of it believes in the ritualistic part of the Vedas. Then we come to Vedanta, Uttara Mimamsa or Vedanta. Vedanta means which came towards the end of the Vedas. Vedanta. Vedanta means Veda Anta, which came towards the end of the Vedas. Which came towards end of the Vedas. Veda Anta. Vedanta. Given by Vyasadeva Badarayana. Vyasadeva Badarayana. So Vedanta means conclusion of the Vedas. So it is based on 3 textbooks: Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, and the Brahma Sutras. So it's based on 3 textbooks: Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Brahma Sutras. And based on the interpretation of these 3 textbooks, 5 schools emerged. Based on the interpretation of Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, and Bhagavad Gita, 5 schools emerged. You can see here on your screen. These are the 5 schools which emerged. Kevala Advaita of Shankaracharya, Kevala Advaita of Shankara, Advaita of Madhvacharya, Veda Abheda, Vishishta Advaita of Ramanuja, Veda Abheda of Nimbaraka, and Shuddha Advaita of Vallabhacharya. Shuddha Advaita of Vallabhacharya. So, Vedanta or Uttara Mimamsa. So, Vedanta means conclusion of the Vedas. It is based on 3 textbooks. These are the 3 textbooks: Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, and Brahma Sutras. And based on the interpretation of these 3 textbooks, 5 schools emerged. Kevala Advaita of Shankara. So, we have dealt with Shankara when I did early medieval India, you remember. So, Advaita or Kevala Advaita. So, let us talk about it. So, founder of Kevala Advaita was Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya. So, what does he say? He says God and God's creation are one and the same. Jiva. So, God is God and creation is Jiva. So, Brahman and Jiva are one and the same. So, that is called monism or Advaita, Kevala Advaita. God and God's creation are one and the same. You cannot differentiate between the two. Whatever you see around you is God's creation. And then there is God. So you cannot differentiate between the two. Both are the same. That is called monism or Kevala Advaita. And he says everything is a construct of your mind. Supreme Brahman is the only reality. Brahma is the only reality. The world exists only in our mind. And I gave you the snake and the rope in the dark analogy. So, whatever you think is real. Whatever you think is real, is your reality. Is your reality. For example, you enter a dark room in your village and you're stamping something, you think it's a snake and you shout loudly in fright, right? So that time, till that time, it was a snake. That's what you thought, it was a snake. And when somebody comes and switches on the light, you see that was a rope. You were stamping a rope and not a snake. That is also real. Once the light was put, you saw that was a rope. That is your reality. That was real. But till the light was put, you thought it was a snake. That is also real. So, as you think, so you become. As you think, so you become. So, be very careful of your thoughts, because thoughts are your reality. Okay. So, that's why. Did you get me that? Hello. That's what Shankara says. So you keep on, that is why, positive visualization, positive visualization, positive words. Words have energy. So be very careful of these things. Words, what you visualize, what words you use repeatedly, that becomes your reality. So that is what is Keval Advaita. Did you get me that? Hello, Keval Advaita of Shankaracharya. So Brahman is the only reality. The world exists only in our mind. Everything is an illusion. Okay. So once the once once the mind realizes, once the soul realizes that all this is a maya or an illusion, through gnana, only then moksha happens, according to Shankara. So I didn't get you, Rajneesh. So Shubhankar, if we start thinking to become an IAS, eventually we will get this, isn't it? Definitely, it all depends how pure that intention is, Shubhankar. See, I'll give an example. You see, it was in the news also many years back. You have this wonderful cricketer from India, Yuvraj Singh. You see, I believe when Yuvraj Singh was a young boy, he had a vision board on his in his bedroom, in his room, in his in his he comes from a business family, and his mother to looked after him. So I believe he had a vision board. In that vision board of his, right? He in that vision board he had mentioned very clearly that he is playing for India, that he wants to play cricket for India. He is playing in the Indian national team, team of India. So that was the vision board. And later he went on to play for India. So the universe conspired to make it happen for him. The universe conspired to make it happen for him. So it's very important. So don't worry about the how and the what and the possibility of it. For example, if let us say I want to own a Mercedes Benz, I'm just giving an example. Let us say I want to own a Mercedes Benz. I just make that vision, I make that intention, thought, and leave it in the universe. I leave it in the universe. I don't need to think, "Arey, how can that be possible? What is my source of income? What is my status, standard of life? How can I own a Mercedes Benz?" Don't worry about that part. You just make an intention and leave it to the universe. And the universe will conspire to make it happen. Who knows? Tomorrow I might win a lottery and I might get a Mercedes Benz. You never know. So don't think about how it will happen, the reality of it. Just make an intention, a wish, and leave it to the universe. That intention, that wish should be very pure. And you should not be feeling jealous. Your neighbor bought a car or some other, he's got a huge building. Your friends have something which you don't have. You should not have that feeling of jealousy or anything like that. Whatever you want genuinely, you make a wish and leave to the universe, and you keep doing your work. You can't keep making intentions and then sitting idle, not thinking that it is going to fructify. You keep doing your work and things might conspire. The universe will conspire to make it happen. Okay. Yeah, even Virat Kohli believes in this. That is true, Stephen. Very, very true. So if you look at the interviews of Virat Kohli, he talks about it. Before going to Australia, he said I was visualizing because from a young age, he's been doing the same thing: net practice, gym sessions, etc., massage, and then eating the right type of food, getting early in the morning and exercising, etc., and practicing. But then, what will we do different? What is there in the thinking? So he said, I was visualizing these bowlers bowling to me, McGrath bowling to me, Gillespie bowling to me, Shane Warne bowling to me, and I was dominating those bowlers, etc., etc. And then that's what happened. When he went to Australia, he dominated those bowlers. And then he comes back and tells, and that's what I was thinking. I was visualizing that I was doing these things. So learn to visualize. Learn to visualize. These things anybody will teach you. UPSC syllabus, Anybody will come and teach you this, but these things will help you in your life, whatever I'm telling you. So try to incorporate that in your, in your mindset. Be very positive, and then, keep preparing for the examination. So we'll come back. So this is what Keval Advaita Shankara says. Rajneesh, yeah, you just work towards it, Rajneesh. Look what, see whether you are qualified for it. What are the demands of that examination, physical, mental, etc. Look at the previous papers and see how you can, crack that exam. Okay. Omnipotent is all powerful. Surya, omnipotent is all powerful. Okay. Brahman is omnipotent. Okay. This is Keval Advaita. Then we come to Dvaita. Dvaita philosophy given by Madhvacharya. So Madhva was from Karnataka, Madhvacharya. So he says that Brahman and Jiva and Jagat are separate. So God and God's creation are not one and the same. They are separate. So Brahman and Jiva and Jagat are two separate entities. Both are not the same, as mentioned by Shankara. So Madhva differed from Shankara. So Brahman is superior, is God, and controls Jiva and Jagat. Jiva can get rid of the cycle of rebirth by worshipping Brahma. So Jiva can get rid of the cycle of rebirth by worshipping Brahma. So they are two separate entities. This is according to Madhvacharya. Then we have Bheda Abheda given by Nimbarka. Nimbarka gives this Bheda Abheda. That is Dvaita Advaita. Though you remember Advaita given by Shankara, monism. God and God's creation are one and the same. Dvaita is different, as given by Madhva. God and God's creation are separate. You cannot say both are the same. So Nimbarka says both are there. There is Dvaita as well as Advaita. So Bheda means difference. That is, God and God's creation are different, and Abheda means non-difference. So which means there are two entities, Brahman and the individual soul, which means dualism, and there is also monism. So both are there, he says. God and God's creation is there, and also God and God's creation is separate, he says, and also they are one, he says. Both are there, he says. Dvaita, Advaita, both are there. So this is what Nimbarka says. Veda, Abheda, or Dvaita, Advaita. Are you clear till here, all of you? Shankara, Madhva, then Nimbarka. Okay. So then we come to a slightly little confusing Vishishta Advaita given by Ramanujacharya. That is qualified non-dualism, monism. So Vishishta means qualified and Advaita means monism. So Brahman is one and supreme. The world is a part of this Brahman. Brahman is one and supreme. So Brahman is one and supreme. And the world is a part of this Brahman. So world is a part of this Brahman. So Brahman is one and supreme. And the world is a part of this Brahman. This is Vishishta Advaita given by Ramanujacharya. So he says that through bhakti one can attain moksha, salvation, through bhakti. So he says you visit temples and you pray to the God, and then he will give you moksha or salvation. You believed in that. So Brahman is one and supreme, and the world is a part of Brahma. Then Shuddha Advaita given by Vallabhacharya. Shuddha means pure, Advaita is monism. World is real, so is the Brahman. But it is the Brahman which forms the world. So Brahman does not undergo any change. Brahman and the world are the two sides of the same coin. So world is real, so is the Brahman. But it is the Brahman which forms the world. Brahman is the one which forms the world. So Brahma and world are the two sides of the same coin. Brahman and world are the two sides of the same coin. So these are the coins, let us say. So Brahman and world are two sides of the same coin. So Shuddha Advaita. So here, if you see here, Vishishta Advaita says that Brahman is one and supreme, and world is part of the Brahman. And Shuddha Advaita Vallabhacharya says Brahman and world are two sides of the same coin. Very similar to what, a little confusing maybe here, but that's how it is. Are you there with me? Monism is God and God's creation are one and the same. That is called monism or Advaita. Satyam, did you get me? So we'll go for a break. Just hold on, Tura. See, what does Kevala Advaita of Shankara says, Satyam? Kevala Advaita is God and God's creation, that is, Brahman and Jiva and Jagat are one and the same. God and God's creation are one and the same. You cannot differentiate between the two. So, God is supreme, Brahman is supreme, and all other things is a construct of your mind. It's an illusion. Everything else is an illusion. That is Shankara's philosophy of Kevala Advaita. God and God's creation are one and the same. It's called Advaita or monism. And everything is an illusion, Maya. It is a construct of your mind. Then Dvaita philosophy given by Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya says God and God's creation are separate. God, Brahman, and Jiva and Jagat are separate. Okay, they are two separate entities, and Jiva and Jagat is dependent upon Brahman. Only Brahma, only by praying to Brahman can moksha be possible for the Jiva. So they are separate, two separate entities. Then Bheda Abheda of Nimbarka. So he says both there are Advaita is there and Dvaita is there. God and God's creation are separate, whereas God and God's creation are one and the same. Both are there, he says, Nimbarka. Then we have Vishishta Advaita of Ramanuja. So Ramanuja says Brahman is one and supreme, and the world is a part of this Brahman. Brahman is one and supreme, and the world is a part of this Brahman. So that's what he says. Whereas Shuddha Advaita of Vallabhacharya, he says there are two sides of the same coin, Brahman and the world. Okay, there are two sides of the same coin. It is both are real. The world is created by Brahman, and both are real. Therefore, they are two sides of the same coin. Brahma. It's something like Shankara's philosophy. This Shuddha Dvaita, I would say, the two sides of the same coin. Brahman and the world are two sides of the same coin. Yeah, Satyam. Yeah, that is true. There is a film movie on Adi Shankaracharya, but that movie I think was in Sanskrit. Shyam, I do not know much of Sanskrit, though I had Sanskrit as a subject in my school, but I don't know much. I've forgotten about it. Telugu, okay, fine. I don't know. So we'll come back here. So though these schools differ regarding the difference between Brahman and individual soul, understand this. Though they differ regarding the difference between Brahman and Jiva and Jagat, they agree on certain aspects. What are the various aspects they agree upon? All these schools, the five schools, all reject the philosophy of Buddhism and Jainism. They all reject the philosophy of Buddhism and Jainism. They believe in transmigration of souls. That is, till a person squares off his karmic debts, he has to take repeated births. Transmigration of souls. When a person dies, it is only the death of the physical body. The Atma, that is the soul, is permanent until that person squares off his karmic debts. Let us say in the previous lives, a person has done very, very bad things. So he has to take repeated births, okay, till he can square off the karmic debts. That is called transmigration of souls. Then all these schools believe that the individual is the agent of his own action. He is responsible for his action and therefore the recipient of the fruit. If he does good, good things will happen to him. If he does bad, bad things will happen to him. So individual is the agent of his own action, therefore the recipient of the fruit. They believe in the desirability of the release from the cycle of rebirth. That is, and this can be attained through Vedic philosophy. That is moksha. They all believe in moksha. And how to attain moksha? Through Vedic philosophy. By following the Vedic philosophy, one can attain moksha. So all these schools believe, agree to all these aspects. They reject the philosophy of Buddhism and Jainism. They believe in transmigration of souls. Individual is the agent of his own action. He is responsible for his action, and also he has to bear the fruit of his actions. And then through Vedic philosophy, one can attain moksha. Concept of karma. Karma, I told you, Surya. Karma is if you have done good things will happen to you. And if you do bad things will happen to you. That's called karma. Yeah, that is true. Good karma, bad karma. So they all supported Hinduism. See, yeah, most of these teachings are there in the Upanishads. Most of these teachings, I told you, based on the interpretation of these three textbooks, the Bhagavad Gita, the Brahma Sutras, and the Upanishads. These five schools emerged. Yeah, so Zeba, based on the interpretation of these three textbooks, five schools emerged. So obviously they believe in what is there in the Upanishads, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Brahma Sutras. Clear? Okay. So let us look at the questions here before we go for a break. Match the following by using the codes given below. Philosophy and founder. Purva Mimamsa. Purva Mimamsa, philosophy given by Jaimini. Uttara Mimamsa, Vyasadeva Badrayana or Vedanta. Sankhya, Kapila, Vaisheshika, Kannada. So this is the match the following. Then with 2013 there was one question. With reference to the history of philosophical thought in India, consider the following statements regarding Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya does not accept the theory of rebirth or transmigration of soul. This is wrong. You can see here all the schools believe in transmigration of souls. So we have seen this. All the five schools believe in transmigration of souls. Therefore, Sankhya does not accept the theory of rebirth or transmigration is wrong. So all the schools believe in, all the six philosophies. Sankhya, Yoga, Vaisheshika, Nyaya, Purvamimamsa, Uttaramimamsa, they all believe in it. Sankhya holds that it is a self-knowledge that leads to liberation and not any exterior influence or agent. So which of the statements are correct? Only the second is correct. Only the second statement is correct. Then 2014 question they asked, which one of the following pairs does not form part of the six systems of Indian philosophy? Six systems of Indian philosophy. Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Purvamimamsa, Uttaramimamsa. So now you see, so which of the pair does not form? Lokayata, Kapalika. They are not part of the six systems. Mimamsa, Vedanta, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga. So C is the answer. Rajni says, but Buddha believed in transmigration as per Jataka stories. So here, see, it is Buddha says it is the tendencies actually, when you look at Buddha's here, he believed in that a person's tendencies get transmitted. A person's tendencies gets transmitted from one generation to another generation. It is not strictly the, that's what he says. The tendencies gets transmitted. Then, which of the following were the followers of Vedanta philosophy? So, Adi Shankaracharya, then Swami Vivekananda, Sarvapalli Radhakrishna, not Kumarila Bhatta. So, not Kumarila Bhatta. So, these three are the answers. Followers of Vedanta philosophy. Adi Shankaracharya, Swami Vivekananda, and Sarvapalli Radhakrishna. So, I have given you a note on Kumarila Bhatta. You can see here. Please go through it. Kumarila Bhatta. Then consider the following statements. Ajivika preaches the doctrine of Niyati. Niyati is predeterminism. So that is correct. Charvaka preaches complete materialism and atheism. So this is also correct. How many statements are correct? Both are correct. Both 1 and 2 are correct. Yeah, try, you're right. Then match the following religious sect and founder. Shvetambara, very easy. Shvetambara, who was the founder of the Shvetambara sect? Stulabhadra or Stulabahu. Digambara, Bhadrabahu. Then Ajivika sect, that is Makkali Goshala. And Charvaka, Ajita Kesh Kambale. That's the answer. So I have put a note here, you can see. So efficient cause is the agent that brings about something. For example, Purusha is the efficient cause. It influences the Prakriti. So agent that brings about something. Material cause, the matter from which the thing is made from. So the actual changes is brought by the Prakriti. That is material cause. Okay, formal cause, final cause. I have given you that. So we'll take a break and come back. What's the time on your watch? 7:57. We can meet at 8. 8, what time we will meet? 7:57. No, they rejected. Buddha spoke about nirvana. Buddha spoke about nirvana. Satyam, see, understand this. Moksha. When does a person attain moksha? After a person dies. In Hinduism, in Brahmanism, Vedic philosophy, a person attains moksha not in one's lifetime. After a person dies. But what did Buddha say? He said one can attain nirvana in one's lifetime. You don't need to die for that. Similarly, Mahavira spoke about kaivalya. And kaivalya, you can have a kaivalya even when you're living on this earth. Did you get me that? Satyam. Okay. So we'll meet at around 8:12, 8:13. 8:13 we'll meet. Did you get me that? Satyam, did you get me that? So that's why they rejected the philosophy of Buddhism. Satyam, clear? Okay. So we'll come back and do religious reforms during medieval period. That is Bhakti movement, Sufi movement, etc. So we'll take a break, come back at around 8:14 and we'll start off. Good morning. That will be notified, Zeba. It will be known to. It will be announced later. Don't worry about this. Religious reforms during medieval period. All of you are back. Can I continue? Hello, audible and visible. Tomorrow there will be no weekday class. It will be only weekend class. Saturday, no. Tomorrow is Saturday. So Saturday and Sunday there will be weekend class. Morning, I don't think there will be a class. So I have some more topics to finish. I will do it. Yesterday I could not take the class because I fell sick. But then we will have 1 or 2 sessions later, and then we will finish the syllabus. Don't worry about that. Right? As soon as possible. I'll ask them to fix a class as soon as possible. Is it fine? So let us talk about this topic: religious reforms during medieval period. Bhakti and Sufi movement. Bhakti and Sufi movement. Now, how do you approach this topic? Understand this? How do you approach this topic? So let us talk about some of the corruptions which existed in our society and religion from ancient times. So think about the corruptions in our society and religion since ancient times. Jagrati, that will be announced to you. Don't worry. We'll come back here. So, corruptions in our society from ancient times. Anybody? What are the corruptions you can mention which existed in India from ancient times? Child marriage. Okay, child marriage. Dowry, sati, caste system. Very good. Caste system. Sati, dowry. Then superstitions. Okay, superstition. Disregard for women. So women were treated unequal. So inequality, denied education, property rights. Okay, elaborate rituals. Okay, so I'll write here superstition. Then elaborate rituals. Sati, very good. Sati was there. Sati is they already mentioned. Rajneesh, Sati is there. So child marriage, caste system. Sati, dowry, child marriages, isn't it? Child marriages. Female infanticide. Female infanticide. That is killing the girl baby. Discouragement to widow remarriage. Okay, discouragement to widow remarriage. A restriction of Vedic knowledge to upper caste. Okay. To lower caste. What you meant is lower caste. Restriction of Vedic knowledge to lower caste, not upper caste. Zeba. So Vedic knowledge denied to lower caste. What else you have in religion? Domination of the priestly classes. Domination of priestly classes. right? Then um, misinterpretation of scriptures, misinterpretation. Okay, untouchability as part of society. Somebody said untouchability. So I'll write here untouchability, right? Thread secretary. Yeah. So child marriage, caste system, sati, dowry, superstition. Okay. Women treated as unequals, denied education and property rights, child marriages with their female infanticide, widow remarriage discouraged. Okay. So then superstitions, rituals, Vedic knowledge denied to lower caste, domination of priestly classes, misinterpretation of scriptures. Okay. So prohibition of very good, Rajneesh. Lower caste prohibited to visit temples. So temple entry denied. Temple entry denied. Very good. Entry denied. Even now we hear stray incidents of such things. Temple entry denied to the lower caste. Right. Polygamy. Okay. Polygamy. Very good. Polygamy. Okay. Practice of ritual sacrifices. Sacrifices. So these are pretty much the corruptions. Understand this very simple topic. These are pretty much the corruptions which existed in our society and religion during the ancient times. From the ancient times. From the ancient times, we have all these corruptions in our society and religion. And we have these Bhakti and Sufi saints. Bhakti saints and Sufi saints, they took up cudgels, they opposed all these corruptions. The Bhakti saints. So first of all, you need to understand Bhakti as a movement. So Bhakti as a movement arose in the Tamil country. Understand this? So Bhakti movement. Bhakti movement. So as a movement, it arose during the Pallava period. During the Pallava period, they ruled from the 6th century to the 9th century AD. So Bhakti as a movement began during the Pallava period. We have the Nayanars. Nayanars, the 63 Shaiva saints, and the Alvars, the 12 Vaishnava saints. They composed devotional literature in Tamil language in praise of Shiva and Vishnu respectively. And they were the ones who opposed all these corruptions in our society. So they condemned the domination of the priestly classes, the elaborate rituals and sacrifices which were part of religion. Okay, and they recommended or they propagated an equal society, equality, so social equality, gender equality. So these are the saints who who were the pioneers, the saints from Tamil Nadu, the Nayanars and the Alvas. So in the 6th century AD, they came to limelight. And Bhakti as a movement entered North India in the 11th century. So it enters North India in the 11th century, 1100 AD. Then it becomes a raging movement by the 14th and 15th century. By the 14th and 15th century AD, it became a very popular movement in North India. So it began in the south and spread to the north. And the construction of the Royal Highway, by Muhammad bin Tughlaq, from Delhi to Devagiri, he shifted the capital, you remember. So this highway aided the transmission of these Bhakti saints from south to the north. And it became a raging movement, a very popular movement in the north in the 14th and 15th century AD. Now, Bhakti has a concept. What is Bhakti? Bhakti is unadulterated devotion, pure devotion or unadulterated devotion. Unadulterated devotion to a chosen deity. Unadulterated devotion to a chosen deity. So, bhakti or pure devotion, unadulterated devotion to a chosen deity. is found first in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. So we have this Upanishad called Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Shvetashvatara Upanishad. So we have the concept of bhakti for the first time found here. The Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Even the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavata Purana also speaks about bhakti. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Purana, right? And then, of course, bhakti has three concepts. Bhakti has three concepts. One is bhakti itself, bhakti. Then number two is prapatti, that is total surrender. Prapatti is total surrender. And nishkama karma. Nishkama karma. What is nishkama karma? That is worshipping your chosen deity without any selfish motive. So without any selfish motive, you worship your chosen deity. So bhakti has these three concepts. Bhakti, that is pure devotion. Prapatti, total surrender to a chosen deity. And nishkama karma, worshipping your chosen God without any selfish motive. Right. So Bhakti saints, understand this, Bhakti saints of South India during the Pallava period, the Nayanars and the Alvars, they condemned all these practices, all these corruptions in our society and religion. And they spoke about egalitarianism. They spoke about an equal society. They spoke about equality, both, social equality and gender equality. They wanted social equality as well as gender equality. Similarly, when it spread to the north, we have, so who are the Bhakti saints of South India initially? The Nayanars and the Alvars. And then we have, of course, popular Bhakti saints of South India. For example, we have Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbaraka, Vallabhacharya. So these Bhakti saints, Mekandar, then Annamacharya. So these Bhakti saints spoke about all these things. They spoke about spoke about social equality, gender equality, removal of untouchability, upliftment of the status of women, removing all these corruptions like sati, dowry, etc. But then, and similarly, it went to the north. In North India, it becomes popular. Ramananda. We have the earliest Bhakti saint of North India, Ramananda, who was influenced by Ramanuja's teachings. Then Kabir, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Surdas, Mirabai. Then, of course, the Maharashtra Bhakti saints of Maharashtra like Gnanadev, Eknath, Tukaram, Ramdas, Samarth Ramdas. So then, of course, we have the Bhakti saints of Rajasthan like Dadu Dayal. Then Bhakti saint from Assam, Shankara Deva, Srimanta Shankara Deva or Shankara Dasa. All these Bhakti saints spoke about all these things. They spoke against all these corruptions in our society and religion. But the question is, were they able to eradicate it? Were they able to eradicate all these corruptions? Were they able to tone down these corruptions in our society and religion? The answer is no. The answer is no. They condemned it, definitely. They opposed all these things, but they were not able to restructure our society or restructure our religion by removing all these corruptions. So when were they ultimately removed? During the British period. You know this, right? You study a chapter in modern India, isn't it? 19th century Renaissance. 19th century Renaissance. Socio-religious reform movements. Socio-religious reform movements. And in this chapter of modern India, we study, people like Rajaram Mohan Rajaram Mohan Roy, R.R. Roy, Rajaram Mohan Roy, and his Brahma Samaj. Then we have the Arya Samaj. Then Swami Vivekananda. And the so-called Ramakrishna Mission. And of course, people like Ishwachandra Vidyasagar, I see Vidyasagar, Jyotiba Phule, and we also have reform movements amongst the Muslims. Reform movements amongst the Muslims, like the Aligarh movement, the Deoband movement, the Qadiani movement, the Ahmadiyya movement. And of course, we have reform movements amongst the Parsis and also the Sikhs. So you study this as part of modern Indian history. And please understand, during the British period, because of the efforts of these because of the efforts of these reformers and the British government, also a number of these corruptions in our society and religion were to a large extent removed or even toned down. For example, due to the efforts of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Sati was banned by William Bentinck. So he saw his sister-in-law, Raja Ram Mohan Roy saw his sister-in-law being burnt after the death of his brother. And he did this melted his heart, and he led a crusade against the practice of sati, this inhuman practice of sati. And ultimately, William Bentinck banned it in 1829. Similarly, Widow Remarriage Act, you have Lord Dalhousie. So it was Ishwachandra Vidyasagar who led a crusade against this practice of banning widow remarriage. So, with his own money, Ishwachandra Vidyasagar performed about 25 widow remarriages. And please understand, widow remarriage was a taboo amongst the Brahmins. It was a taboo amongst the upper caste, particularly the Brahmins. So, if a Brahmin girl during those days, child marriages were there, as you all know, even cradle marriages. So the parents will get the two babies married as soon as they're born, or after a few years after they're born, in their cradles. So we had cradle marriages, child marriages. Children as young as 3 or 4 years were married off. So let us say if a Brahmin girl became a widow at the age of 5 years or age of 7 years, she lost her husband. She doesn't know anything. She's an innocent girl, right? Age of 7 or 6 years. And her husband is about, let us say, 15-year-old boy. He dies for some reason. That boy, that girl, innocent girl, is disheveled. Her hair was shaved off so that she doesn't look attractive. And then she was ostracized. She was segregated from the family members, from the society. She was made to wear white clothes. White clothes. She could not, participate in the ceremonies along with the family members, like rituals, sacrifices, or for that matter, marriage ceremonies, some pujas, etc. And many times, somebody within the family, an uncle or some relative, would exploit that girl, including sexually. So it was a taboo amongst the Brahmins not to get married again. It was Ishashada Vidya. So here, what I mean to say is lower caste girls had no restrictions. They were much more freer that way. So if a lower caste girl became a widow, there was a possibility of she getting married again, and she had more freedom in the society. She'll go into the farms, work along with her husband or family members on the farm. So, and she'll participate in all the ceremonies. She had a lot of freedom. But that was not there for a Brahmin girl, a Brahmana girl. It was Ishwachandra Vidyasagar who, with his own money, performed widow remarriages. Right? He performed the first widow remarriage for a girl, of a Brahmin girl, in the history of India. And because of his efforts, we have Lord Dalhousie in 1856. He passed the Widow Remarriage Act, which legalized such marriages and also gave the status of legitimacy to a girl, to a child born to a widow. So until then, a child born to a widow was considered to be illegitimate. So because of the efforts of Lord Dalhousie and of course Ishwachandra Vidyasagar, such widow remarriages were recognized, and the child born to a widow was given the status of a legitimacy. Similarly, we have people like as the Arya Samaj, Arya Samaj of Dhananjay Saraswati, Swami Vivekananda. So all these people, reformers, condemned all these corruptions in our society and religion. And to a large extent, they were, because of the efforts of the British government also, uh, through the legislation. For example, human sacrifice was there. Another corruption you can mention in society was human sacrifice, which was practiced amongst the Gonds of Orissa and the Konds. The Gonds of Adilabad district, Andhra Pradesh, and the Konds of Orissa. So they used to practice human sacrifice. The Gonds of Orissa and the Gonds of Andhra Pradesh, and the Konds of Adilabad district, Andhra Pradesh. So they used to practice human sacrifice. So human sacrifice was banned. Then Sati was outlawed. Then, of course, the British opened up many schools where even lower castes were allowed, so they could get educated. Girls' schools were opened by people like Jyotiba Phule, and also the British opened convents for them. So all these things, all these corruptions in our society, to a large extent, what were toned down or reduced during the British times because of the efforts of these reformers, like just now as we have mentioned, and also because of the British authorities, British government. Right. So you have to study this. What I'm trying to tell you is you have to study this topic of socio-religious reform movements or religious reforms during medieval period, along with the modern, the chapter of modern India, 19th century Renaissance, socio-religious reform movements. So you study as a thread. You study this topic as a thread. You start off with this topic, and then you also read 19th century Renaissance, socio-religious reform movements together. Did you understand? Yes, that is true, Zeba. So you study this as a thread, and then it becomes very very easy to understand this topic. So again, this is factual in nature. Again, this is a topic which is factual in nature. We'll discuss that either way. No, this is not the last class. How can this be the last class, Nazma? I'm yet to finish the syllabus. I have taken my time to finish ancient medieval, a little bit more time, and this is my first batch actually of online classes. So I could not understand how many classes I would require. So I have overshot the time given to me. So, but then we will. No, this is not the last class. I never said that, Razma. We will take one or two classes and finish the syllabus, right? But I have gone slow wherever possible. I have gone slow, and I have taken my time to finish the syllabus in an elaborate manner. So I think by the next batch, I'll know, and the management will know how much class should be allotted to me. Okay, so don't worry about this. That will be taken care of. So don't think this is the last class. It will not you will finish until the syllabus is finished. I will be taking an extra class. Okay, so we'll come back here. So here two mystic movements began. That is the Sufi movement and the Bhakti movement. So Bhakti movement was among the Hindus, as you can see. Bhakti movement was among the Hindus and Sufi movement amongst the Muslims. So Bhakti movement emerged in South India and then spread to the north. And Sufi movement emerged in North India and came to the south. Okay, Bhakti movement began in South India and spread to the north. And Sufi movement began in North India and came to the south. So remember that. And both influenced each other's condemned orthodox rituals of the Brahminical religion. And Bhakti movement led to the development of local languages, vernacular languages. So many of these Bhakti saints use the local language, right? Like Hindi or Awadhi dialect of Hindi, Bengali, Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, etc. So they use the local languages to propagate their teachings. So that led to the development of vernacular literature, local language literatures. So now, what are the aspects of Bhakti? As you can see here on your screen, these are the aspects of Bhakti. It rejected rituals and focus was on Bhakti. Rejected rituals, focus was on Bhakti. Opposed social religious discrimination. Importance was given to monotheism, that is belief in one God, monotheism. Then we have Saguna Bhakti, Nirguna Bhakti. What is Saguna Bhakti? God with attributes. Saguna, so Bhakti movement is divided into two parts, Saguna and Nirguna. We'll come to that. What is Saguna? Saguna means God with human attributes. God with human attributes. Saguna, God with human attributes. So in other words, you have the worship of idols. So idol worship. So God was worshipped in the image of an idol, in the form of an idol. Okay. Then Nirguna is what? A formless God. A formless God. A formless God. Nirguna worship. Right? Formless God. So you have either Saguna worship or Nirguna worship. For example, we have many saints believed in a formless God. Right? So if, for example, Kabir spoke about a formless God. He says, what is the purpose of worshipping a stone? Okay, on one stone we tread upon, another stone is worshipped. So how can you say that there is one God in one stone and there is no God in another stone? So Kabir believed in a formless God. Even Sikhism believes in a formless God. Sikhism, right? They believe, Guru Nanak spoke about a formless God. So that is called Nirguna worship. and use of regional or local languages. God without any form, Akshata. Like, for example, Muslims pray to Allah, but then they have not given a form to God Allah. So they call God as Allah, right? Similarly, Sikhism, they worship a formless God. But then what do the Sikhs consider? What do they believe? They worship the Holy Granth, Guru Granth Sahib. They consider it as the word of God. So you have a holy book kept in the Gurudwara, which is called Adi Granth, or the Adi Granth. So they worship that, right? The book itself. For us, it may be a book, but for the Sikhs, it is the word of God. So you can see they fan the. There'll be Mahant sitting and fanning the pujaris are sitting and fanning the Holy Granth Sahib, the Guru Granth Sahib, which is considered to be a living entity. It's not just a book; it is a living God for the Sikhs. So they believe in a formless God, the Sikhs, right? That is the meaning of that, formless. So these are the aspects of bhakti. They rejected rituals and focus was on bhakti. Opposed social religious discrimination. We have looked at all the corruptions in our society. So all these bhakti saints condemned all those corruptions. Importance was given to worship of one God. Either it could be Saguna Bhakti or Nirguna Bhakti, and use of religion, regional or local languages, vernacular languages. So Bhakti gave importance to the following aspects: devotion, that is Bhakti, religious harmony, social equality, gender equality. So again, we come to a factual topic, Bhakti movement. So we look at the Bhakti saints of South India, first of all. Then we'll go to the North Indian Bhakti saints. So who are the Bhakti saints of South India? So Bhakti movement flourished from the 11th to the 17th century. So the concept of Bhakti is first mentioned in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, as I told you. And the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavata Purana also talks about Bhakti. It began in South India in the 6th and 7th century AD, entered North India in the 11th century, and flourished in the 14th and 15th century AD. In South India, the foundation of Bhakti was laid by the Nayanars, the Shaiva Vaishnava saints, and Alvars, that is the Vaishnava. The Shaiva saints are called Nayanars, Alvars by the Vaishnava saints of Tamil Nadu. So they spoke about religious equality, religious egalitarianism, rejected orthodoxy, rituals, and clashed with the Orthodox Brahmins. It flourished during the reign of the Pallavas. Akshata, that means Hindu is Saguna Bhakti, right? No, Hinduism is both Saguna and Nirguna. Even before the coming of Islam, there was Nirguna Bhakti in Hinduism, in the Vedic religion. Nirguna Bhakti was there, right? So, okay, Akshata. So you have both Nirguna and Saguna Bhakti. So the belief is, see, when for a new initiate, somebody who starts praying for the first time, the belief is he requires some focus of attention. He requires some form to focus upon. So it could be an idol or an image or a book, okay, something like that. Once he begins to pray and he reaches a particular level of belief, then he doesn't require a form because he sees God everywhere. So he can he can pray to a formless God. Okay, so initially, suddenly praying to a formless God may be difficult for a new initiate. So you have both Saguna and Nirguna Bhakti in Hinduism. Akshata, are you there with me? Who is formless God in Hinduism? Nee, God is everywhere. No, what does Shankara say? Shankara says one is God and God's creation. Whatever you see is God, according to Shankara. So God's creation is equal to God. So that is a formless God. Tra, did you understand? Who's formless God? We don't have a name for a formless God, but everything you see around you is God's creation. Therefore, God is formless also. So you have both form and formless. And please understand, Hinduism or Vedic religion, Brahmanic religion has been a very flexible religion, right? So so if Hindus will worship an idol or an image, if you take away the idol, they will keep something on their body, like a Shivalinga or some pendant there, and they'll worship. If you remove that, then they'll remember God in their mind and worship. So there's so you have all sorts of worship in Hinduism. There's no, it's a way of life. You don't say that you have set practices in Hinduism. It's a way of life. Hinduism is a way of life, as you know, right? So Yes, they are also part of the Bhakti cult, Surya. Kanakadasa, Purandaradasa. That is true. They believed in God, in and they also sang the glories of God. They sang the glories of God. That is the which is known as Dasa Parampara. The Dasa Sahitya. So that is they use the local language to propagate the teachings of God. And the local saints of Karnataka. You can also have local saints of Andhra, Maharashtra. Like for example, the Maharashtra Bhakti saints. They use Marathi language to propagate the teachings of to propagate their teachings. Eknath, Gnanadev, Tukaram, Samartha Ramdas, etc. Okay, so two types of bhakti movements, Saguna Bhakti. So don't worry about that, Kashish. Focus on the class. So Saguna movement and Nirguna movement. Saguna is God of worship of God in human form, idol worship. Okay, so in South India we have the Vaishnavites and the Shaivites. Vaishnavites worship Vishnu, Shaivites worship Shiva. So this is God with God in human form, worshipping God in human form, idol worship. Okay, Nirguna is formless God. Nirguna is God without form, rejected idol worship. So both are essentially monotheistic. Please understand, both are essentially monotheistic. So you have in Vaishnavism, we have Rama Marga, Krishna Marga. In Vaishnavism, we have worship of Rama, which is called Rama Marga, or Krishna. In fact, if you look at it, in Vishnu is very popular. Vishnu is very popular in South India. Worship of Venkateshwara or Vishnu. Whereas the incarnations of Vishnu are very popular in North India. Incarnations of Vishnu, among the 10 incarnations, Rama is very popular, and worship of Krishna along with their consorts. Rama with Sita and Krishna with Radha. Their worship in North India is very popular compared to the Vishnu worship as such. Vishnu worship is popular in South India. Rama and Krishna are also worshipped, but they are mostly worshipped on Ram Navami or on Krishna Janmashtami, the birthday of Rama and Krishna. They are remembered specifically on those days. Whereas otherwise, Vishnu is worshipped, as an all-encompassing entity. Whereas in North India, it is Rama along with Krishna and their consorts, which are very popular. So within Vaishnavism, we have monotheism, that is Rama Marga, Krishna Marga. Are you there with me, all of you? So let us continue here. Aghora, the Nirguna sect of Shaivism. See, Aghoris were one of the in extreme Shaiva sects. Aghoris, Goraknathis, Kanfata yogis. We've seen that, They were used to worship Shiva, thinking, and they used to follow those practices, thinking that Shiva does all those things. And of course, they used to perform extreme yogic practices, the Aghoris. So they might have worshipped a linga. So they would have a small linga with them. Not necessary that they would be worshipping a formless god, Rajneesh. They might be carrying a small linga with them, a symbol of Shiva. Why Muslims rejected idol worship? Yasin, in Islam, God is a formless God. Allah, they have not given a form to God Allah. They call God as Allah, and he's not been given a form. And they say Prophet Muhammad was his, Muhammad was his disciple, a prophet who was sent by Allah to convey the message of God Allah to humanity, to mankind. Right? So there's no idol worship amongst the Muslims, just as there's no idol worship among many other religions. For example, Parsis worship fire. So Parsis worship fire, and they consider fire as God because nothing can be as pure as fire. That's what the Parsis say, and they worship the fire. Right. Similarly, we have Sikhism. In Sikhism, they worship the gurus. The guru is worshipped, and they believe in a formless God. Paigambar is a prophet. Muhammad Paigambar. Paigambar is a prophet, a messenger of God Allah. Okay, an apostle. You can call it as an apostle. Apostle of God Allah is Muhammad Paigambar. See, Rajneesh, Makkah, Medina, holy places connected with Islam. So I don't know. There is some something very symbolic inside the Holy Kaaba. So I would not know about that. But they believe in a formless God. Very nice question. Sham says, but Muslims pray half moon. Is that God or symbol? I suppose it is a symbol. You have a half moon, a crescent, shown on top of their top of the mosque, right? A crescent is shown, right? No, Surya Muslims not they do not pray facing a wall. In the masjid there's a wall. That is, they are facing west because that's where the Holy Kaaba is. It's facing west. So wherever the Muslims do namaz, they face west and pray. No, facing the Kaaba, the Holy Kaaba. So in Islam, there is no form of God. Then why people do worship of Dargah? Nazma, you should be able to answer this question better. See, Dargah, I told you, contains the tomb of a Sufi saint. But then traditional Muslims, strict Muslims, don't go to a Dargah because they believe that you don't require a via media between God and human beings. They directly pray to Allah, and whatever God wants to give, He will give. You don't require to go through a saint. So traditional Muslims, the conservative, strict Muslims, don't believe in a saint. Neither do they visit a dargah. Okay, Nazma. Okay, okay, we'll come back here. So we have Saguna, Nirguna worship. Are you there with me? So we'll come back here. So Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbarka, Vallabha, then other saints of South India. So we again go in this sequence: Ramanuja, Madhva, Nimbarka, etc. So we look here on your screen. So a few years back, 200, almost 218 feet statue, 200, 218 feet statue of Ramanuja was installed on the outskirts of Hyderabad, Telangana. So this is a place called Muchintal. Muchintal. This statue is called Statue of Equality of Ramanuja. This is supposed to be 218 feet in height. So let us talk about Ramanujacharya. He was the first Bhakti saint, as you can see on your screen, first Bhakti saint. Again, factual information. So remember, Ramanuja's philosophy is called Vishishta Advaita. As you all know, his philosophy is called Vishishta Advaita. It is qualified monism. Qualified monism. So what did he say? He said, Brahman is one and supreme. Brahman is one and the supreme. And the world is a part of this Brahman. The world is a part of this Brahman. So you have to pray to God. You through bhakti, intense bhakti, you pray to God, perform the pujas and rituals, and you try to win the grace of God, and He'll give you whatever you want. That was the gist of his teachings. So he was born at Sri Perumbudur in Tamil Nadu. In Dargah, king and queen are not buried. Anjali, who told you this? In Dargah, king and queen are buried. No, it's a Sufi saint who is buried. But please understand, some kings are considered to be equal to saints. For example, we have this Dargah in Gulbarga, Karnataka. This is the Dargah of king whose name was Ahmad Shah Wali. So the king his name was Ahmad Shah Wali, who shifted the capital from Gulbarga to Bidar. So this person is called Wali because he was a disciple of, in his lifetime, he was a disciple of the Sufi saint called Khwaja Bande Nawaz Gesudaras. So in North Karnataka, a pretty popular saint who came to South India during the shifting of capital from Delhi to Devagiri by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. The Sufi saint called Gesudaras. So he died in the south and he is buried there. He has been buried there. And this king called Ahmad Shah was a disciple of Gesudaras, the Sufi saint. So when Ahmad Shah died, his tomb also came to be buried. In fact, you have an urs, urs. Urs is what? The death anniversary of a saint. It's called urs. Muslims don't celebrate birth anniversaries; they celebrate the death anniversary of a saint. Okay, that's called urs. So you have a urs there in Gulbarga, which is pretty popular in North Karnataka. So he is a king, but also considered to be a saint. He is worshipped. Not all the kings are worshipped among the Muslims. Yeah, you can consider Shankaracharya as the first Bhakti saint. Yeah, I have already done Shankaracharya Satyam. You can consider Shankaracharya as the first Bhakti saint, definitely. Yeah, people think that Sufis are close to Allah and then they will forward. Yeah, that is true. That is there among Hindus also, among other religions also. Since they are closer to God, people believe that if you go through a saint, your prayers will be answered faster. Your prayers will be answered faster if you go through a saint. So that's what is the belief. Okay, we'll come back here. Focus on the class, please. Now, come back here. So Ramanujacharya. So again, I told you factual information. He lived in the 11th and the early part of the 12th century, middle of the 12th century AD. Born at Sri Perumbudur, Tamil Nadu. Sri Perumbudur, outskirts of Chennai. Sri Perumbudur. Rajiv Gandhi, the former Prime Minister of India, was assassinated at Sri Perumbudur. So Ramanujacharya was born there in Sri Perumbudur. He is called Yatiraja. He studied at Kanchi. His guru was Yadava Prakasha. So later he had differences with his guru because his guru was believer in Advaita philosophy of Shankara. So therefore he left his guru and then he was appointed as the head of the Srirangam Mutt in Tamil Nadu. And so he became the head of the Srirangam Mutt in Tamil Nadu, the Ramanujacharya. And during that time, during his period, we have the Chola king Kulatunga the first who was ruling. So Cholas were Shiva worshippers, they were Shaivites, and then you have the persecution of the Vaishnavites by the Shaivas. So therefore, Ramanujacharya, to escape religious persecution of the Shaivites, came running away to present-day region of Karnataka. He came over to the present region of Mysore, to a place called Melukote. So, who was the king of in that period in Karnataka? The Hoysalas were ruling. Vishnuvardhana, King Vishnuvardhana was the king. So he comes and takes shelter in the kingdom of Vishnuvardhana, the Hoysala king, and he makes Melkote his headquarters. Melukote near Mysore. And he lived here for 20 years. And after the death of Kulatunga, only after the death of Kulatunga, he goes back to the Tamil Nadu. So he established a mutt, a Vaishnava mutt at Melukote. Right? He founded a sect called Vaishnava sect. And his philosophy is called Vishishta Advaita. We have just now discussed that. So God or Paramatma is real, independent and permanent. Chit and Achit are dependent upon him. That is, soul and world are dependent upon him. So he did not make any distinction between Gotra and Pravara. The Gotras, you have so many Gotras. So he did not make a distinction between that high and low, man and woman. So he said through Bhakti Marga, through Bhakti, one can attain salvation. He popularized the concept of Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. Then we have two elements in Bhakti Marga, Prapatti, total surrender to God. So he believed in that, total surrender to God, and Acharya Abhimana, that is surrender to Guru. And Ramanujacharya believed that you should worship Sri, that is goddess Lakshmi, and she is the mediator between Vishnu and the humans. So if you worship Sri, that is the wife of Vishnu, that is Lakshmi, goddess Lakshmi, you can go reach Vishnu faster. So she acts as the mediator between the humans and Vishnu. Condemned the Mayavada of Shankaracharya. That is, Mayavada is illusion. What did Shankara say? God, Brahman is the only reality. Everything else is an illusion. Everything is a construct of your mind. But Shankara Ramanuja condemned that. He said that God is separate and God, Jiva and Jagat are separate. So he gave Diksha to the Antyajas also. That is initiation into sannyasi. Sannyasahood. Diksha, that's called Diksha. Initiation into sannyasa order. So if somebody wants to become a sannyasi, renounce the world, he should be initiated into sainthood. So so Ramanuja did not make a distinction between high and low, and even to the Antyajas, the lowest caste, who were also below the Shudras, he gave them initiation, and he calls the untouchables as Harikula or Tirukulattar, and allowed temple entry to them. So he allowed them to enter temples. So this is a revolution, by itself, and Ramanuja encouraged the untouchables to enter temples. Okay. Right. So he wrote many books. You can see on your screen, he wrote many books. Vedanta Sangraha, Vedanta Sara, Vedanta Sutras, Gita Bhashya. Right. Vedanta Sangraha, in this book, he condemns the Mayavada of Shankaracharya. Are you there with me? Yamunacharya was his guru. Yamunacharya was his guru, guru of Ramanujacharya. Those sutras are maybe sutras are maybe the code words sutras. So it literally translates to certain codes, Vedanta sutras. So sutras, or you could call them as beads, beads or codes. Okay, sutras. Gandhiji was inspired by him and so named Harijans. I don't know that, Rajneesh. I don't think so. Gandhiji was inspired by him. No, he called the untouchables as Harikula. Gandhiji called the Harijan, the untouchables as Harijans, the people of God, as he said, people of God. Maybe he might have been influenced. I don't know whether Gandhiji was really influenced by Ramanuja and he borrowed the word Harijan from Harikula. I have no idea. I'm sorry I don't know that. So I have given you extra points on Ramanuja. So you can see the yellow has been maintained. The yellow background has been maintained. So this is extra information about Ramanujacharya. Go through it. Right? Then we come to Madhvacharya. Madhva. So Madhvacharya, he lived in the 13th and early part of the 14th century. Born at Sringeri in Karnataka, he was a Kannadiga. And his philosophy is called Dvaita philosophy. That is, God and God's creation are separate. God and Jiva and Jagat. Jiva, Jagat are separate. So Shankara said they are one and the same. He said they are separate. This is called Dvaitavada. Dvaita, dualism. Dualism. So you can see on your screen. So his philosophy is called Dvaitavada, dualism, also known as Tattvavada, I believe. So according to this philosophy, there are three entities: Jada, that is matter or universe; Jivatma, or soul or Chetana; and Paramatma, God. So soul, that is Jivatma and Paramatma, are different entities, and this philosophy is called Dvaita philosophy. So God and Jiva and Jagat are different according to Madhvacharya. And there are 5 fundamental differences between Jada, Jivatma, Paramatma. So he gives these 5 fundamental differences. There's difference between Jivatma and Paramatma, Paramatma and Jada, Jivatma and Jada, Jivatma, one Jivatma with another Jivatma, one Jada with another Jada. So this he gives 5 fundamental differences between Jada, that is matter or universe, then soul and God. Then the Dvaita philosophy was systematized by Vyasaraya, another saint called Vyasaraya systematized it. Under this, according to him, you have God himself is Parabrahma. So God is Parabrahma. Jada, that is universe, is real. There's difference between Jivatma and Paramatma, that is human beings and God. All Jivatmas are followers of Hari. They all follow Hari. There is distinction between high and low. All among these Jivatmas, there are high Jivatmas and low Jivatmas. And pure devotion is the only path for salvation. Only through pure devotion one can attain moksha. So then we have these 6 principles along with 3. They are known as Navaratnas of Dvaita philosophy, Madhva philosophy. Vishnu is the highest God. Then his philosophy led to emergence of Dasa Sahitya, Dasa literature. That is local literature, vernacular literature. So he propagated his teachings in Kannada language, vernacular literature, and he criticized Buddhism, Jainism, wrote arguments against 21 Indian scholars. Then he brought idols from Dwarka of Lord Krishna and Lord Balrama, and he installed them in Udupi. So we have Udupi Sri Krishna temple, which contains the idol brought from Dwarka by Madhvacharya. And then Malpe in Karnataka, again in the coast, Balrama statue is there. Then he established 8 mutts at Udupi and in Karnataka. These are called the Ashtamats: Sode, Shiruru, Kaniyuru, Pejavara, Palimaru, Adamaru, Krishnapura, Puttige. These are the 8 mutts established by Madhvacharya. And he believes that the main purpose of these mutts is to propagate bhakti, dharma, philosophical truths, and perform puja to Udupi Sri Krishna. So I'm sure some of you know this temple, famous temple of these mutts are important. Um, Mutts are not important. At least know where these mutts were established. If there's a short note on Madhvacharya, if they in the mains, if they ask you about Madhva, about Ramanuja, about Shankara, already make 250 word answers and keep it. 250 word answers you make on Shankara, on Ramanuja, on Madhvacharya, on Kabir, on Chaitanya, on the Sikh Gurus, on the Sikh Gurus. We'll come to Sikh Gurus in some time, Sikh Gurus. So, like that, you make some short notes and keep it. Okay? About 200 words, 200 to 250 words. So, just in case they ask you, you should be able to write. Is it okay, Yasin? Kabir, Chaitanya, the Sikh Gurus, maybe Dadu Dayal. Dadu Dayal. Okay, these are the philosophers. So, some extra information I'll share it with you. Word file, some extra information will be shared. I'll share that with you. So he wrote 37 books in Sanskrit on these books, on these subjects. Gita Tatpara Nirnaya, you can see here Gita Tatpara Nirnaya, Mahabharata Tatpara Nirnaya, Vishnu Tattva Nirnaya, Gita Bhashya, Bhashya Anubhashya, Mayavada Khandana, Brahma Sutra, Dadasha Stotra. These are the various books written by Madhvacharya. Right? Madhvacharya. So this is in anticipation. This is in anticipation Akshata. Make about 200 words, 250 words, and keep it with you, just in case they ask you. Nimbarka. Nimbarka lived in the 13th, 14th century. He was a Telugu from Andhra, a devotee of Radha Krishna. His philosophy is called Dvaita Advaita, Veda Abeda. That is, there is both dualism and monism. Dualism and monism. Wrote Vedanta Parijata Saurabha. Vedanta Parijata Saurabha. Founded the Sanakadi Sampradaya. So a type of worship called Sanakadi Sampradaya. Nimbarka. Vallabhacharya lived in the 15th, 16th century. So they might also ask you this way: arrange the following Bhakti saints in the sequential order of their occurrence. Arrange the following Bhakti saints in the sequential order of their occurrence. Who came first? So accordingly, I have arranged it: Ramanuja, then what do you call Madhvacharya, right? Then Nimbarka, right? Then we come to Vallabhacharya, like that. So lived in the 15th, 16th centuries, born in Kashi to a Telugu couple. He proposed the Pushti Marga, salvation by getting the grace of God. Pushti is grace of God, getting the salvation of God through His grace. And his philosophy is called Shuddha Advaita. Shuddha is pure monism. Pure monism. That is, God and God's creation are two sides of the same coin. God and God's creation. Brahma and the world are two sides of the same creation, are two sides of the same coin. Vallabhacharya. Then other saints of South India, Manavala Mahamuni. Okay, so similarly, go through it. Manavala Mahamuni, then Annamacharya. Annamacharya, there was a famous movie which came many years back, about 20 years back. Annamaya, in Telugu, it was a very famous movie where Nagarjuna, hero called Nagarjuna, has acted as Annamacharya. So this Annamacharya was a devotee of Lord Venkateshwara of Tirupati Tirumala. He was patronized by King Saluva Narasimha. So Saluva Narasimha was the founder of the Saluva dynasty of Vijayanagara, if you remember. So he was patronized by this king called Saluva Narasimha. And he wrote a number of kirtanas, about 32,000 kirtanas, verses, poems in praise of Lord Venkateshwara of Tirupati. Only 8,000 are still existing. The rest are all lost. Annamacharya. He propagated social egalitarianism, social equality. Mekandar, so he was a Shiva Bhakti saint, wrote Shivagnana Bodham. Shivagnana Bodham. Then Bhakti movement in North India. So these are the important Bhakti saints we have just discussed. Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbaraka, then Vallabhacharya, Mekandar, then Annamacharya, etc. Then we come to Bhakti movement in North India. So from South India, it went to the north, and we have the highway built by Muhammad bin Tughlaq from Delhi to Devagiri, which aided the spread of Bhakti movement in North India. So the first Bhakti saint of North India was Ramananda. So we discussed like this. Did you understand, all of you? Hello. This topic is bland, but then I had to give you the gist of it. Corruptions in our society and religion, which existed from ancient times, and how finally they were eradicated only in the modern times during the British period. And then we discuss all these saints who condemned all these corruptions in our society and religion. And all this is factual in nature. All this information is factual in nature. They use local languages to propagate their teachings. They brought out certain philosophies, okay, or you know, uh, you know, philosophies and thoughts. And then that's about this topic, Ramananda. Yeah. So Ramananda, first Bhakti saint of North India, followed Ramanuja's philosophy. He propagated Rama Marga, that is Rama cult, worship of Rama. He's become popular through his disciples, 12 disciples of Ramananda. They are called Avadutas. So who are the popular disciples of Ramananda? Kabir. So from Weaver's community, Kabir. Then Raidasa, he was from the Chamar caste, the untouchable caste, the Charmakaras as they're called, Raidasa, he was from the Chamar caste. So Kabir. Then Sena was a barber, Sadhana, a butcher, Dhanna, a Jat peasant, Narahari, goldsmith, Pipa, a Rajput prince. So these are all the disciples of Ramananda who made Ramananda very popular, right? Then Kabir. So Kabir is called the Karl Marx of India. He was a Nirguna Bhakti saint. So he was born to a Brahmin widow. So she abandoned him. He was born to a Brahmin widow. So she abandoned him, and the baby was picked up by a Muslim couple. They did not have any children, so they brought up this child. So he grew up in a Muslim weavers community at Kashi, and he propagated Ram Rahim concept. So Kabir, as he grew up, he'll go and pray in a temple. At the same time, he will go to a mosque and pray and do his namaz there. So he brought in this concept of Ram Rahim concept, Hindu-Muslim unity. He spoke about Hindu-Muslim unity. He was an illiterate person, so he composed dohas. Dohas are, the teachings of Kabir are contained in his dohas, Kabir ke dohe, as they were called in the local language, vernacular language. So he used the Awadhi dialect of Hindi. So Awadhi dialect of Hindi to propagate his teachings. So he was the person who condemned all these practices, superstitious practices like going on pilgrimages, taking bath in holy rivers, in the Sangam area, fasting for days together, uh, idolatry, worshipping idols. So he condemned all these practices, both among the Muslims as well as Hindus, not just Hindus, but also many of the religious practices, superstitious practices of the Muslims. So he was a radical and a satirist in his criticism of superstitions. Therefore, he is called Karl Marx of India. Rejected idolatry, idol worship, practice of fasting, criticized pilgrimages, promoted social equality. And the followers of Kabir came to be called Kabir Panthis. So a new sect was born after his death, known as Kabir Panthi. So Kabir is called the Karl Marx of India. So something like Sai Baba of Shirdi, Sai Baba of Shirdi also spoke about Hindu-Muslim unity. Hindu-Muslim unity. And there are so many examples of the saint from Shirdi, isn't it? Where he spoke about Hindu-Muslim unity. Hindu-Muslim unity. So, for example, so there's a story of an officer who criticizes this Shirdi Sai Baba, saying that whether he's because he would have cured people of cholera, so cholera wouldn't have entered the village of Shirdi. So the one of the devotees of this saint goes to an officer. He's a tahsildar of that area. the Amaldar or the Tahsildar of that area, tax collector of that area. He tells him that cholera never entered this village because of this saint. So the saying that officer is supposed to have criticized Shirdi Sai Baba behind his back, whether he's a Muslim or whether he's a Hindu, etc., etc. So then, he goes to meet him. This devotee is persistent, insistent that he go and meet him, seek his darshan. So this officer comes with his family, and he sees in a cauldron. So there's a cauldron in which Sai Baba is making rice. He's cooking rice, and and the rice is boiling, water is boiling, and he's stirring it with his hand. So he's amazed how nothing is happening to his hand, that he's mixing all the rice in that particular pot. And he asked the devotees to come and put their share of rice. So Muslim comes, puts his share, a Sikh comes, a Hindu comes, Parsi gentleman comes, Christian gentleman comes. So the rice is cooked, and then he removes the rice from his hand, the cooked rice, and he asked them to pick up their rice. Which is, you are saying you're having differences on the basis of religion. So you pick up your rice. So they are all surprised, and they're not able to do that, obviously. So he was talking about Hindu-Muslim unity. So like Kabir, Shirdi Sai Baba also propagated Hindu-Muslim unity. Okay, Satyam. Satire is, you use, satire is like you use jokes, exaggerated examples you give to convey your message. Okay, stories you tell, or even mockingly you tell those stories to convey your message. That is called a satire. Yasin. Right, Kabir. Then Surdas, so disciple of Vallabhacharya, promoted Krishna Marga. He authored many Hindi books like Sur Sagar, Sur Suravali, Sahitya Ratna, like that. Surdas, 16th century. He was a blind saint. He was blind saint, Surdas, blind person, promoted Krishna Bhakti. Then we have Mirabai. So Mirabai was the daughter-in-law of Rana Sangram Singh of Mewar. You remember Rana Sangram Singh? He fought against Babur in the Battle of Kanua, 1527. We have the famous Battle of Kanua. And in this Battle of Kanua, Rana Sangram Singh was grievously wounded, and he died after some time. So Mirabai was the daughter-in-law of Rana Sangram Singh of Mewar. She belonged to the Sisodia royal family. Now she used to worship Krishna as her husband. She used to consider Krishna as her husband. So, and she was neglecting her real husband. So as a result, her family told her to go to Brindavan and spend the rest of her life there. So she went away to Brindavan, and she spent rest of her life there in Krishna Bhakti. So Mirabai lived in the 15th and 16th century. Then Goswami Tulsidas. So he wrote, as you all know, Ram Charitamanas. He was a contemporary of Akbar. So they had asked this question, who was a contemporary of Akbar? It was Goswami Tulsidas, a contemporary of Akbar. And we are told that probably he was in touch with Abdur Rahim Khani Khanan. Abdur Rahim Khani Khanan was a son of Bairam Khan, Akbar's commander, Bairam Khan. So son of Bairam Khan was Abdur Rahim Khani Khanan, and they probably exchanged some poetic communication, I believe. Goswami Tulsidas and Abdur Rahim Khani Khanan. So he was a worshipper of Rama. He began to write the Ramacharita. So on the Ram Navami day of 1574, his real name was Ram Bola Dubey. Ram Bola Dubey was the real name of Goswami Tulsidas. So he began to write the Ramacharita, a translation of the Ramayana in Hindi language, in the Awadhi dialect of Hindi. And he finished it in a few years. So Ramacharita, most popular version of Ramayana is this. Valmiki Ramayana. After that, we have Ramacharita in Hindi language, the Awadhi dialect of Hindi language. So Ramacharita, Kavitavali, Vinaya Patrika, these are the books written by Goswami Tulsidas. Dialect. So languages have many dialects. Okay, language is one, dialects can vary. For example, if you go to Maharashtra, we have different dialects of Marathi language. Okay, in Bombay it is different, in Mumbai, or you go to Kolhapur, that dialect of Marathi is different. You go to Nagpur area, that dialect is different. Konkan area, that dialect is different. Similarly, Karnataka, Kannada, North Kannada, Karnataka, Kannada is different. Gulbarga, Bidar, right? Then Mandya Kannada is different. The Bangalore Kannada is different. Like that. Those are all dialects of language. Yes, did you get me? Dialect. Language is the same. The dialect is different. Uh, Goswami. So why he is called Goswami? Maybe out of respect. Swami is a respectable address. Swami, Goswami. So we'll come back here. 10 minutes to go. We will do Sikhism, Sikh Gurus. So there are 10 Sikh Gurus. So remember the 10 Sikh Gurus: Guru Nanak, Guru Angad, Guru Amardas, Guru Ramdas, Guru Arjun, Guru Har Gobind, Har Rai, Har Kishan, then Har Tegh Bahadur, and Guru Gobind Singh. So 10 Gurus of Sikhism. So Guru Nanak was a founder of Sikhism, and Sikhism is the combined teachings of all the Sikh Gurus, the 10 Sikh Gurus. Guru Nanak was the founder, and the last Guru was Guru Gobind Singh Ji, 10th and the last Guru. He was the last Guru, and he said that after his death, there will be no Guruship. There will be no Guruship in a physical form. The Guru Granth Sahib, the Holy Guru, Guru Granth Sahib, will itself act as an inspiration for the Sikhs. The Guru Granth Sahib will be a living Guru. He said it will be a living Guru. It will be a living Guru. It will guide the Sikhs in their life. So it is considered to be a living entity, the Guru Granth Sahib, the holiest book of the Sikhs. So Guru Nanak, founder of Sikhism, contemporary of Babar. So he traveled extensively, Guru Nanak, with his disciple called Mardana. So he had a disciple called Mardana. So along with Mardana, he would go from place to place. And Mardana carried an instrument, a musical instrument called rabab. So he will play on the rabab, and Guru Nanak gave his teachings. He traveled extensively. He supposed to visit Sri Lanka, even Makkah, even Russia, they say. So he went to all over all those places. He was born at Talwandi in present-day Pakistan, and he died in present-day Pakistan. So he was born at Talwandi, and he died at Kartarpur, both in present-day Pakistan. So these journeys, so he traveled to Sri Lanka, Baghdad, Central Asia, Makkah, Medina, etc. And these journeys of Nanak, Guru Nanak, are called Udasis. So these are called Udasis. He believed in unity of man and unity of God. Unity of man, that everybody is equal. Man is born equal and is equal in society. There's nobody called up and low, high and low. So everybody is equal. And there's only one God. There's only one God. So unity of man and unity of God. He believed in that. And he believed in a formless God. Nirguna. God is formless. Then he introduced the concept of Guru Ka Langar. That is part of community kitchens. So you have a langar or a community kitchen in a Gurudwara. So everybody, poor and the rich, irrespective of caste, sex, they're all welcome there. They can go and have the food there in the langar. No, only vegetarian is served. You cannot go and ask for non-veg there. Only vegetarian food is allowed. So it is cooked very tasty. Even during the COVID times, many of the Gurudwaras gave free food to many of the poor and the needy. They have done a lot of seva. So high and the mighty, everybody can go there and offer their service freely. Many rich and influential people go there in the langar and they work for free and doing seva or service to God. So his disciples, Guru Nanak's disciples, are called Sikhs. Okay, Sikh, from the word, Sanskrit word Sisya or disciple or Siksha, instruction or education. Preachings of Guru Nanak are the basis of Sikhism. So, right? So this is about Guru Nanak. Now, Guru Nanak did not have any. You see, I have given you some extra information here. Sikhism allows menstruating women to sit in Gurudwaras. So that is, women who are having their monthly menses, monthly periods, they are not allowed in temples or in other holy places. But Sikhism allows menstruating women to attend Gurudwaras, to go and sit in Gurudwaras. Okay, and also it allows remarriage of widows. Sikhism as a religion allows remarriage of widows. Very interesting. Right? Then we have the second Guru, Guru Angad. Guru Angad. So Guru Nanak's own children were not spiritually inclined. They were not spiritually inclined, and therefore he had a disciple called Lehna. Guru Nanak had a disciple called Lehna, and he appointed him as his successor and gave him a new name, Angad. Angad means from my own limb, of my own limb. So the second Guru becomes Angad. Okay, so during his period, the Gurumukhi script was evolved. Gurumukhi script evolved during his period. Okay, the third Guru is Amardas. Guru Amardas, Guru Ka Langar was popularized. That is, the community kitchen became popularized during his period. So it was introduced by Guru Nanak Dev but then popularized during the time of the third Guru, Guru Amar Das. Gurumukhi script evolved during the period of the second Guru. Then we have Guru Ram Das, the fourth Guru, during whose period. So he was a contemporary of Akbar, and it was Akbar, Emperor Akbar, who gave the land where the Guru began the construction of the holiest Gurudwara of the Sikhs, the Har Mandir Sahib. So there's also a lake next to the Gurudwara. So the land where the lake was dug up was also donated by Emperor Akbar. So here, I believe the second Guru, that is Guru Angad, had a skin problem, had a skin ailment. Guru Angad. The third Guru, Guru Amar Das, found a nectar, found a herb, okay, on the banks of that lake. So therefore, it got the name Amrit Sarovar. So because that herb cured the second Guru's skin ailment. So the fourth Guru, Guru Amar Das, decided to build a Gurudwara in the midst of that lake. You can see here on your screen. This is the holiest shrine of the Sikhs, the Gurudwara, the Har Mandir Sahib in Amritsar, Punjab. And you see, purposely, it has been made at a lower level. So, however, what is the reason for this? This is on the instructions of the Guru. It has been made at a lower level. So, however big a person might think he or she is, however high and mighty that person might be, he is supposed to lower his head down and come down and seek the blessings of the holy shrine there. That is the Gurudwara there. So, however mighty you might be, you are supposed to put your head down and come down. So, humility is given a lot of importance in Sikhism. You should not show off. You be very humble. So for example, you have many of these dignitaries. They go to temples like Tirupati or some other temple, and they make donations, okay, in crores of rupees, and that is advertised, right? It comes in the next day's newspaper. Such and such a person gave so much of money or gold, etc., to this god. That is not encouraged in Sikhism. That is considered to be you're showing off your ego. So even if you want to donate 1,000 crores, you go there quietly, you put that money in the required place wherever it is, the hundi or the place where you're supposed to put money, and quietly walk out. You're not supposed to um, propagate that you're donating so much of money, because you're showing off, and that's not respected. That's not considered to be humility in Sikhism. So it gives a lot of importance to being humble, Sikhism. So here, so that land was donated by Emperor Akbar, and Guru Ram Das, the fourth Guru, began the construction of the Harmandir Sahib. It was completed by the fifth Guru, Guru Arjun, right? Even the even the lake was constructed at the time of Guru Ram Das. So this is the holiest shrine of the Guru of the Sikhs. Then we have the Guru Arjun, the fifth Guru of the Sikhs, Guru Arjun Dev. So during his time, we have the Guru Granth Sahib. So he compiled the Guru Granth Sahib, the holiest book of the Sikhs. So he was the one who completed the Harmandir Sahib and also compiled the Holy Guru Granth Sahib of the Sikhs. And we have this Prince Khusro, Jahangir's son Khusro. So he came to seek the blessings of Guru Arjun. He rebelled against his father. I told you this story when I did Mughals. So he wanted to become the next emperor, and his lifetime he is supposed to have expressed his desire to become the next emperor, and which was interpreted as rebellion. So Guru Arjun was ordered to be arrested by Jahangir, but Arjun somehow, what is that person name? Guru Prince Akbar, Khusro. So Khusro expressed his desire to become the next emperor, the eldest son of Jahangir, and Jahangir ordered his arrest. So Khusro escaped, ran away, and came to the Punjab. And there he came to seek the blessings of Guru Arjun, the fifth Guru of the Sikhs. And Guru Arjun blessed him like he would bless anybody. He put a tilak or a tika on his forehead, and this was construed or interpreted by Jahangir as supporting his rebellious son Khusro. And Jahangir ordered the torture of Guru Arjun. So Guru Arjun was tortured. Hot boiling sand was thrown on his body, on his naked body. He was made to sit on a tawa. So all sorts of tortures were meted out to the Guru Arjun. And then he asked permission. He wanted to take a bath in the river Ravi. So as he was being taken from one place to another place, and he asked permission. So his handcuffs were removed, and he got into the waters of the river Ravi, and he drowned himself. He could not take this torture, obviously, so he drowned himself to death. And there the Sikhs have built a Gurudwara Dera Sahib in Lahore, in Pakistan, Lahore. So Gurudwara Dera Sahib was built by the Sikhs later. So this is the fifth Guru of the Sikhs. I think I have run out of time. What I'll do is I'll continue this in the next class, Har Gobind onwards. So I have to finish Bhakti Sufi movement. Science and technology is there. Painting topic is there, and education. So this should terminate it. We'll have one or two sessions depending upon how much is required. Okay, so don't worry about it. When the next class will be, it will be notified to you. But as sooner the better. I will also request the same. So you meanwhile keep studying, keep revising your lessons, and some more word files are coming your way. I'll ask you to. I'll send it today or tomorrow. It will be in your mailbox. Okay. So you have a great day, and we'll meet soon. Yeah, everyone is allowed to visit Gurudwara. Yes, everyone is allowed to visit the Gurudwara. As far as my knowledge goes, you're supposed to, I think, cover your hair, head and go. There's a particular rule to follow. You're supposed to go there. Yeah, that will be sent to you. No, model answers will be sent to you, Dipesh. Don't worry. So next class will be notified to you, Dhyana. It will be notified as soon as possible. We'll have it. So carry on. You have a good day. Meet you soon. I don't know. Those things are not in my control. You are seeing. It will be sent to you. Don't worry. Yeah, good work. Good Friday. Thank you.